Let's see. Hello, everybody. Let's see. That sounded really low. Let's see. Sound check, sound check. How does that sound, everybody? Stuff my beard. Sorry about that. Chris should be joining us soon. Figured I'd go ahead and just get us started, knock some of this stuff out of the way. And make sure I got the rock fin going. All right. We are live. No, looks like it's live. Let's see. Let's see. Happy Gregorian New Year to you all out there. Shout out. I see Jira is in the building. What's up, Jira? Warren, our brother. How do we do, sir? Mr. Street's in the building. What's up, John? Let's see. Who else we got here? Miguel. And whoever else is in the chat who hasn't hopped in and said anything yet. Let me double check over to the rock fan side to see what's going on. We got a couple of people filing in here. I imagine people will be filing in a little bit slow. As you guys can see, I'm trying a little something different with the thumbnails. You know, always going to try to mix this up a little bit, keep it interesting. The newest says, "Let's go." Well, we're going to go on ahead and hop in. I see Iris is here. Glad to see you also. We're going to hop in with a little bit of news first off. My little news rundown. Yeah, and we'll get to all the interesting stories. Of course, we're going to talk about the Katt Williams interview. Big interview. So we will get into that. The Epstein list. I do want to talk about the Epstein list. We want to talk about the Epstein list. Of course, since it's January 6th, we have to talk about January 6th. So we will talk a little bit about that. Some news broke today about the January 6th thing. So we will talk a little bit about that when we get to the January 6th segment. Also, I do want to talk about Bill Ackman versus what's I don't remember her first name, but the Harvard president, Mrs. Gay. We will talk about that a little bit. What else did I have on the list? Janice, good to see you. I think that's all that, and of course we got to talk about some updates with the whole Israel Palestine situation, or Israel Gaza rather. So we will go on ahead and hop into some of my little quick rundown news stuff. Let's see, what do I got? There my man is. There he is. Before I get to the rundown, of course, my colleague, my friend, my brother, Mr. Side Lawson, coming to the stage.
Yo, what's good, man?
Oh, nothing much. And I see my brother Wheezy out in the chat. What's up, Wheezy? Good to see you. Glad to have you here. As I said, happy Gregorian New Year. And for those who understand, Oz Whistles, what's up, Oz Whistles? For those who understand the reason why I say happy Gregorian New Year, because according to like my understanding on looking at stuff, it's technically not the new year. But you know, I'll play along with everybody else. If you go back into like the history of these different calendars and all that, knowing that December was the last month, but there was no January, February, and you know the calendar's all jacked around, and the new year actually starts in the spring. But that's a whole different other topic. Chris, my brother, how are we doing today? I mean tonight.
What's good? Yo, what's good, man? I'm chilling, man. What's up to everybody in the chat?
And I guess I say, well, night for some, day for others. Oz is catching y'all today. So to everybody out there. Warren says a Greg Brady calendar.
But I mean, I mean, I'm chilling. Same old shit. Can't really complain. It's been a busy couple days already, and we're only 6 days in. And I talked so much shit about this day and this holiday
Hmm.
that I forgot it was a holiday.
Yeah, and we might have we'll probably have a guest later on in the show. A friend of the show, Steve
A
Poikinen,
word?
will probably join us for the Katt Williams segment when we hop into that one. So I'll make sure to send him a link.
Oh yeah,
And of
that's gonna
course,
be funny.
Steve being a comedy guy, I mean, this is right in his wheelhouse. And he also can give us a little bit of insight on some of this stuff. So definitely looking forward to that. I think we'll breeze through a lot of these different topics and might even try to bring Steve in earlier for some of this other stuff because I know he definitely always has, he always has something to add to the discussion and he always sees some different things a lot of other people haven't necessarily went into. So, you know, definitely looking forward to having the brother on here. Any word hops in, he says, I just deleted all my anti-Zionist slash his comments on Twitter. They are keeping track for the door to purge. If you're funny, any word. Well, I say we don't have to worry about any kind of purges and let's not worry about that. We're gonna fight through this and go through strong and whatever. No fucks given. Oh damn, that's right. I'm not supposed to cuss early in the segment, but I think as long as I don't go on a rant, it's
Yeah.
good. Uh um what I wanted to start off with some of my little news rundown. There's been some news as far as what's his name? Dang it, where'd that go? McLean. Remember the kid Elijah McLean? Um,
Why does that name sound familiar?
Elijah McLean
Hmm.
was a young kid. I believe he was
Alabama.
19. Was it Alabama? I think it was
Okay.
Ohio. He's actually let me just pull the story. Uh, pull the story, and that way I can cite it accurately. And I do not know why Amy Schumer is trending for some reason, but Amy Schumer is trending.
Mm. Well,
Let's
it's not for
see
being
where to
funny.
go.
We know that.
I don't know what's well Twitter, whatever X is weird because you have stuff that's trending and then they're talking about something that was like 7, 8 months ago. So it's hard to understand how this fucking Twitter algorithm works. Oh, let's see. Yeah, Oz whistles. Remember, Elijah was an autistic boy who got killed. He got can't remember, was it shot? I'm drawing a blank on exactly how he died, but either the cop was holding him down or he was shot. I think he was held down. But yes, it was a young 19-year-old autistic kid. I think he was 19.
Mm.
23-year-old. Sorry, it was in Colorado. And let's see. Yes, it was a chokehold. It was a chokehold. So yes, that's what happened. Weapon illegal injection of ketamine. What? I think. Oh, that's what it was. I think maybe he had passed out, and then they tried to um, apply ketamine or something to bring him back, and I think it sent him into some kind of well, I think that's what resulted in his actual death. Um, he died from injuries in the tech ambulance. Yeah, that's what it was. It was a chokehold, and then they tried to give the ketamine to try to help bring him back, and then it ended up putting him into a coma, and he died like 6 days later. And the cop who responded to it has been sentenced to 18 months. So, I mean, that's something. So I figured that I'll at least bring that up. What else? Uh, for those who were a fan of Starsky and Hutch back in the day, um, one of the half of Starsky and Hutch has passed away at the age of 80. Do you remember? You remember
never gotten this.
You never gotten the Starsky and Hutch? Neither did I. It's all right.
Nah. I mean, I
don't know why he's bringing up the new one.
Anything like,
I don't know. I figure we got some.
That's why
we got some. David Soul was his name, who passed away. So he passed away at the age of 80. Just wanted to put that out there. Oh yeah, we didn't cover it last week, but it was what a presidential candidate in South Korea that was stabbed in the neck, attempted assassination. So that was something that was kind of wild and interesting that like got no coverage. So I figured that I would definitely bring that one up. Let's see, Denver is here. He said, "Hey, you guys, global orbital mounted weapons system exercises. I dare say lasers." Yeah, we'll probably get into that once we get down to that segment because we definitely got some stuff to talk about as far as the Israel-Gaza situation. So I guess without further ado, I guess I only had those couple of stories. I had something else I could have swore. Oh yeah, that's right. I think I have that up here.
Oh
yes.
I mean, yo, what about
oh, that's what it was. Sorry, it was 14 months. Who?
Oh, what about your man who went who went airborne yesterday or whatever?
Oh yeah, that's right. We got to talk about that guy who who went airborne for the judge. Oh, please find that clip. Please find and play that clip. we have to for anybody who did not catch that. I mean, I feel like honestly, after seeing him do that, maybe somebody should be trying to sign him. Be like, we can send him a lawyer, try to get him up out of this. I mean, that's a lot of talent sitting there. I mean, he literally like Superman tackled this one.
He got up and
kind of remind me. It remind me of some old Ronnie Lott or some Steve Atwater back in the day. It was beautiful, and for those who missed it, he did grab her. He did catch her, like when he went over.
Oh,
he literally put her into the wall.
Her good.
Yeah, I mean, so he caught her.
He caught her good. And the guys in the back, I was trying to figure out what the hell they were doing. I never seen such soft punching before. I didn't know what they.
Well, you saw the one guy. He went from like overhand punches to like yeah. I know they do that in the UFC, but I just yeah. Oh, going ahead. Yeah, for those that did not see. But look, put the sound on because honestly, the way her mouth was talking, she needed that.
Oh,
yeah, put the sound on because the reckless shit that she had to say, she fucking needed that.
Three men to subdue him. The judge was injured and her condition is being monitored. ABC's Aaron Kaczynski explains what caused that outburst.
Overnight, a judge attacked in a Nevada courtroom. Chaos erupting moments after what appeared to be a calm sentencing. Deobra Redden, a repeat offender, had pleaded guilty to attempted battery with substantial bodily harm, but argued to Judge Mary Kay Hothus he did not deserve another trip to prison.
I feel like I should be given a shot because I'm in a better place than I was.
The judge reminded Redden of his lengthy criminal record.
3 felonies, a gross, 9 misdemeanors, multiple DVs. Got a lot going on, sir.
Still, he asked for leniency.
I feel that I shouldn't be sent to prison for a second time.
But the judge denied his request for probation.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court...
Moments later, Redden leapt over the defense table and the bench, landed on top of the judge, and sparked a brawl with court officers and attorneys. Courthouse officials telling ABC News Judge
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he landed a couple of good beaters
Um,
on it, and like John said,
yo,
that's like 8
homeboy got
feet.
up
I
there.
mean, that's I don't know. He had to. I don't know if he jumped off of something, but I mean, that's a hell of a jump. I mean, for those who know who ran
You
track, I don't
know,
know anybody, any high jumpers out there. That's he used the Western roll technique. So I used to high jump. I used to do
yo,
what's called the flop. The flop is the one you see most of the
but
people
yo,
do when you run up next to it and you jump and arch your back. I pause, whatever. That didn't sound right, whatever. But yeah,
yeah,
whenever
there
you
you go.
jump
You got
over
it.
it,
Yeah.
whenever you jump over like forward, that's a much harder way to leap over something. And this dude jumped over something that's like 8 feet. I don't know what the hell he was on. Maybe he went to court on something.
Yeah, I don't know, but you know, he didn't help himself either. You know, he had
Yeah.
that. You know, he had all those priors, and you know, attacking the judge obviously is not going to get him any leniency. So that was, you know, obviously dude
Oh
was a
no, he
bit
about to get all
touched,
kind of charges.
and
Oh, he about to sit in prison for a while.
yeah, they're gonna give him. He gonna sit there for a couple of calendars, maybe 2.
Mm-hmm. Well, it depends. I mean, think just for assaulting an officer. I mean, that can get you 6 years alone. I know
Yeah,
when I
that's what
work
I mean.
corrections,
So
if we decided to press charges on anybody who attacked us, I mean, that was some years that you can get for striking an officer.
yeah,
Now, I mean, when I was working juvenile, I never would press any kind of charges on anybody. And when I was on the adult side, nothing ever happened like that. Most of them were minor offenders, or they knew that they had to try to be on good behavior because it was going to affect their sentencing. So on the adult side, you didn't run into nearly as much. But on the juvenile, a juvenile will try to swing on you in a heartbeat. And when I say juvenile,
I'm
don't get
just
in
wondering
mind
what.
like a 7 or 8. Don't get in mind like a 12-year-old. Some of them are like 16, 17, like 6'3", can knock you the fuck out.
Oh, speaking of crazy, did you also hear that story where the 10-year-old shot another 10-year-old over a bike race?
What? Shit's getting crazy out here, man.
Was that in California? Where was it? Was that in California? I can't remember. You know, it was 2 black kids, but the father of
Might have been
the
Iowa.
son who used the gun. Yeah, I can't remember where. So don't quote me on the location, but it's an unfortunate situation, man. 10 years old, and you know he got arrested. The father got arrested because he helped him get rid of the gun. You know, he lied about the story, etc. So it was like, God damn! Every time you turn around, some wild shit happening. It's like that show
Yeah,
on
I
HBO.
which show?
That show with the. Are you allowed to say midget?
I don't know. I think you're supposed to say little people. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay, my
I mean,
bad. Okay.
I'm still learning on these terms and stuff. So hey, y'all, this video comes back to bite us. Know that hey, we grew up in a different time period, so we're not hip to all y'all new terms, the new lingo that
Yeah,
we're
I
forced to
asked.
have to
So just
use.
so yeah, but okay, yeah, thank you. Because I wasn't sure. You know, like you said, we come from a different era, right? But anyway, it's like they
Mm-hmm.
got this show on HBO. I just saw with this little person. They was like abusing her. It's like crazy. I'm like, it's a little person, you know. But like I said,
Mm-hmm.
every time you turn around, you see one crazy story after another, and it's just wild. Yo, streets is I see streets.
Well, but there is a difference actually. Is dwarf okay? Because technically, if you're what is it like under 4'10", you're technically a dwarf, not the M word that people are offended by. because there is a difference. And then, like, literally, some people have dwarfism. So if you have
I
dwarfism, are
don't
you
know
allowed
that
to be
about.
called a dwarf? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't get into all that. But
Mm.
I guess my last story I have here on my little rundown would be. I thought I had it on the screen. Hold on. I guess I don't have the video. No biggie, not the end of the world. But it was a flight where the where the doors went flying wide open. And that caused the airline to ground like 9 planes. So let's see. That's J6. No, yeah. So I just thought it was something interesting. Wanted to bring up. But yeah, let's go on ahead and get into it. This it is January 6th. So let's talk a little bit about J6. You know, the most horrible tragedy America has faced since 9/11.
For comedic purposes, if you all would like to laugh, I suggest you check the Twitter accounts of like Nancy Pelosi, the U.S. Senate. What's the senator from Illinois? Is it Durbin still? Is he
Yeah,
still
Dick
there?
Durbin.
He's still there. Yeah, go check their Twitter feeds and their comments as it relates to January 6th. It's some of the funniest shit ever. I mean, it's hilarious once you realize that. It's hilarious, you know. Once you know the truth, it's funny as shit. Oh, speaking of January 6th, tell me you saw the video of your man Jonathan Capehart.
No, of course I did not.
Yo, son, dude in the
I
video crying.
I avoid watching MSNBC, so I have no
You
clue
know, I don't even
what's
have.
on there.
You know, I don't have cable, so I don't see it not on this TV. But I bring it up because it was clips. He was on there doing the fake cry like everybody else to a cop from January 6th. Like, oh my God, thank you for being there. I was like, yo, matter of fact, I got to show it to you, though. It's fucking ridiculous.
I guess so. I mean,
the thing is, who is this still effective with?
I don't know. It's affecting somebody. I know one thing that it was effective at doing that a lot of people don't talk about nearly that much. I mean, talk about outside of our community. I'll say that much. Outside of, you know, the so-called conspiracy theory, you know, truther community, not very many people talk about the ramifications of what was able to be accomplished by Congress after the fact of this so dangerous threat. So
they're like, people died on this day.
Yeah, one of the damn people
Look,
who
even
was at the
the
at
first
the
cop,
spot. You talking about heart attack, man?
Yeah, correct. He had the stroke.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I don't want to hear nobody making a big deal about somebody who literally got so scared they fucking just died. I mean, no, that doesn't count in this
Correct.
whole. Oh, it was so bad.
And he passed. He passed away the day after, also. Like, just,
yeah, I mean,
you know, so he didn't.
I look at it as it was only just an operation for Congress allow for a bunch of people to walk through, highlighted on the handfuls of time people got rowdy, just so they can use that as a justification to be able to get funding
Well,
for
first
their
thing,
fucking police
fir-
state to go all over the country. That's about it.
well, also too, it covered up the discussion about the election, right? Because then now you're not talking about potential discrepancies in certain places throughout the country. You're talking about January 6th. So now that way you removed Trump off Twitter as a result of that. You removed several Trump supporting accounts off Twitter, large accounts. So you kind of you hollowed out the space so that you can get people who most would be talking about the election off the application, at least for that particular time. I know a lot of people obviously have multiple accounts and they come back on, but just the attempt to get them off was, obviously that was something big. So that's what the hype about January 6th is all about as well. It took the attention away from the fact that their election was bogus. I think I said it before here. My first time voting, being of legal age to vote, was the 2000 election, which turned out to be a bunch of bullshit, right? Here we are 20 years later, we have another election, and they want us to believe that no shenanigans can happen or that all this stuff is always on the up and up.
24 years later.
Right? Well, the election was 2020, right?
Yeah, don't be trying to give yourself some extra. Oh yeah, 2020. Well, we're up to 2024
see,
now. So. Don't be trying to give yourself some extra years.
But I'm just saying, like, but that's essentially what it was. The event that took place on January 6th, the guided tour, as I like to call it.
I mean, I just thought it was, well, one of the things that I thought was most egregious was kind of something that happened like with the independent journalists who were on the ground. I know Steve was on the ground there. I know the Convo Couch was on the ground there. And I know that they took their footage, would not allow them to use it, and then use that for like CNN and MSNBC and all the mainstream media. And I thought that was one of the wildest things I ever seen, that they could just literally ban your stuff, ban you from using your own stuff, and then the news can use it on your own. I heard police do stuff like that, but I didn't know the media could do that.
Yeah, and as I talked about, last week, even from the initial videos, but the initial videos where you saw them moving the barricades, but the ones that were released by the new Speaker of the House, when he made all those thousands of hours of video available, I mean, you just look at it, the police were opening doors, standing aside. And, you can have this conversation with people on the street. Now, this is, it's a thin line between ignorance and stupidity, right? If you don't know, you don't know. However, you're stupid if I'm telling you, hey, the government released the video. We could see the surveillance. I'm telling you that it was a guided tour. No, it wasn't. They was trying to take over our country. Okay, fine. You didn't watch the video. I just told you I did. You're not listening. Therefore, you are stupid. Not because I'm the smarter person, etc. All I'm telling you is you don't require a fucking a degree in rocket science to look at surveillance videos from the Capitol. And you can see people who are clearly marked as police officers escorting people. And yet, you'll describe this to people and you'll point them to, you'll bring them to the water. Hey, drink, here you go. And their ignorance or their stupidity just, it goes into overdrive.
Well, I brought up earlier that there was some news that happened as far as this J6 stuff. besides everybody being all hyperbolic about Trump or trying to find a way to use this as justification to keep Trump off of ballots, because that is something that's been going on recently. But the family of Ashley Babbitt is allegedly filed a lawsuit. So that is something that that's something that's going on also. So what's your thoughts on that Ashley Babbitt family's lawsuit?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see the complaint, or I'd like to see whenever it's filed. I don't really, I don't know on what grounds they have. If you are saying, look, if the government is saying, hey, look, we told you we didn't want you in here, and we have you on video climbing into a restricted area, and we told you to stop, and it was chaos that day, we already know they would probably lose that. So
Yeah, I
I mean,
definitely think that they'll
we'll
lose
see
that.
how it goes. But I'm just thinking about how it would be.
Well, because the guy could justifiably say, I mean, granted, a lot of it was just people walking through the halls, and there were security who just opened barricades, but there were certain parts where some of the Capitol Police were like trying to like hold the fort, if you will, and telling them, no, you're not going to go this way, and
Mhm.
people were trying to break the windows to go through. So, I mean, I don't know why you would forcefully try to go through that area when they're allowing you to walk through all these other areas. Just walk through there. And the way the Capitol building is, you could literally walk to all these other areas and then get around to that place anyway. So I don't get why try to force through this one, choke point anyway. And so
Mhm.
the fact of he's sitting up there, he's looking at, I mean, from the camera angle, you can only see maybe like 15, 20 people, but from his vantage point, he might have seen a larger crowd of people and felt like, yeah, hey, they're coming through here. Also, we can't hear what was being said there because it's so noisy. He could have been telling them, stop or I will shoot. So I don't know how you win
Mhm.
a case like that when it can show where a guy has justification to say he had fear for his own life. You're coming through, and especially if he said don't come through, it's or what if this guy is what if he saw
You know,
where that one guy got hit with the flagpole? He could have felt that it is more dangerous, that he is in a life or death threatening situation, especially if it's one on a bunch of other people. So I can understand his possible rationale for doing that. But that's the reason why I say I don't see that lawsuit going anywhere. But I just wanted to bring it up because I just read about it earlier today.
oh yeah, I don't know if that'll have any legs. I don't know where it'll go, where it'll end. So that'll be something. Obviously, we'll look out for when and if it happens. But again, all of it was a big, it was a production. It was a
Go.
production to, again, to get you to not look, think, discuss the election that had just taken place in November the year prior to that. And that's really what it is. And we know that shit is not on the up and up. We know they cheated their ass off. The existence of all those mail-in ballots really allowed them to get away with it. They needed COVID and the stay at home and everybody mail in your vote. They needed that at that particular moment to pull that junkie stunt off. Because without COVID and people having to stay home and social distance and all that other nonsense they was kicking, people would have been outside. You wouldn't have been able to have the numbers look the way they did. So,
I,
but
I mean,
yeah,
I mean,
it is
I
what it
guess
is. I
what.
think most of the people in this audience, I think they know.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say most of the people in this audience probably already know that nothing was on the up and up with that election either. So it's not as if this is their first time hearing it, and obviously the audience is also smart enough to know that saying that or agreeing with me, in no way does that make you a supporter of a homeboy either. You know what I mean? We can just call it, as we always say, we ain't got no dog in this fight. So we just calling it for what it is. I'm like, see that bullshit you did. So, again,
I
it's
mean,
as
I would say, to kind of wrap on this one, I would say honestly, I felt the real reason why J6 happened is, I mean, because here's the thing. They knew all the people were coming to the Capitol. They knew how many people were coming. They knew where the people were staying. They knew where the people were at. They knew all of it. If they felt like this situation was going to be something that was going to get out of control, they already saw the number of people. They already saw where they were going to be. They already were reading. The FBI already was reading the text communication that was going back and forth. So the Capitol Police is under the jurisdiction of the Speaker of the House. At that time, the current Speaker of the House was Nancy Pelosi. So Nancy Pelosi at any point in time could have ordered more security. Also, if they need even more security than just extra Capitol Police, they could have easily called in more. They could have easily called in actual DC Metro Police to assist. Another thing, they could have called in National Guard if it was that serious. And as we saw with Trump just deciding he wanted to walk over to the church, how fast they were able to get, all of those, how fast they were able to assemble a National Guard unit to be able to be there shows that they could have had people there very quickly if they felt the situation was going to get out of hand. What I feel the main goal is they wanted it to be ruckus and out of control, because the big thing which you saw that happened, that was in the process of happening even before January 6th, that was like January 3rd, 4th, and even into December, where it was being worked on, was a bill was being worked on for more funding for Capitol Police. And that funding bill to put police in other states is something new. And how do you justify something like that? Well, you kind of need something to happen. And so, I mean, that's one thing which I see one of the biggest causes of why they allowed for January 6th to even happen. And they have to get on the media and scream and screech and make a big deal about it to justify the next increase in funding that they want to do to Capitol Police and expand in the police state.
I want to add to that. It's not effective with as many people as they would like to believe, which is why I called the Twitter account of Pelosi and the rest of them tweeting about it today. That's why I called it comedy, because it's pure. It really is pure comedy. With our age group, it's not as effective. Maybe it is with some of our parents and uncles and aunts, as I always say. Maybe it is with them, but again, their influence is, they don't influence anything anymore. Maybe they show up to vote, cool, but they're not the ones who are online pushing narratives anymore or controlling narratives. It is us, right? It is all of us now. So it doesn't work. We have friends. We are reaching people, right? This program, other programs, many others like it. Even people do comedy. They tie up some of this stuff into it, and it is extremely ineffective. Their entire narrative. So to watch them now again have to be like, it's funny to me. I don't feel any kind of way towards it. Besides, I think it was a bad theater production, but who am I?
Oh man, I'm trying to find, what did I do with this? A little funny story I ran across. Give you guys, here we go. I give you guys a little comedy now. I'm gonna give you this side of it first, and then Chris will be able to give you guys the real deal, because Chris is in South Florida, where this next incident or this next story leads us to. And I just kind of want to throw it in there because it's a little humorous what's been going on here. I ran across the story and I was like, oh gosh, people are fucking crazy. So I decided let me throw this on the screen for y'all. If you guys haven't heard about it yet, oh come on, don't play silly. Well, if this clip decides to come up, there we go. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, are you gonna behave? Are you gonna behave? No. Damn it. Hold on. There we go. I deleted some stuff, and so I got my hopefully I won't have as many of these freeze ups and it kicking me out and stuff like that. And I think I might have had some bad apps or something on my laptop. So yes, that's what we're talking about. Mr. Streets is already ahead of me. Boy, I mean, gotta love this audience. Gotta love this audience. But for those who don't know about this,
That's why I was laughing.
it says some say aliens, some say distraction from Epstein files, some say Nephilim, bots. So let me play this video, and at any time, Chris, you need me to stop it, just tell me when to stop. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. Let me mute up real quick.
Guys, Tiki Talk, this is purely for entertainment purposes only. We're just goofing around. All things stated here are purely speculation. Just having fun. You are going to want to see this.
Turn it up if you can.
Next few days, you will not see this anywhere else but right here. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm not sure what part of this story bugs me most. The fact that we actually now live in a world where something like this could happen. The fact that we actually live in a world where something like this could happen. But at this point, none of us will even be shocked. Or the fact that something like this could happen in our world, and not a single news media has broke this story, not at all. In fact, if you Google search it, it is quite a difficult find, which is all that much more suspicious with a story of this kind of size, this magnitude. And yet, here we are. Hang on to your britches. It's going to get real. A couple of days in Miami, Florida, at a mall, the local police were dispatched to the mall for an argument, a fight that broke out between juveniles. Juveniles, they say, had sticks and fireworks. Oh my. But ultimately, the call, what they claim was the call, the reason for the police officers to arrive at the scene, was due to a fight that had broken out between juveniles who had some fireworks. Auntie, why do you care if that's on the news? That isn't a big deal. No, my friend, no, it's not. It is definitely not that big of a deal. I agree with you. And it is definitely, hands down, not a big enough deal for the local Miami Police Department to show up on the scene just like this. Right? That seems like a lot of officers to show up, but my friends, that is not anywhere near all that came. And once you understand and you hear the eyewitness's story, I believe you will at that point understand a little bit better as to why so many police officers, probably 100, along with choppers, black choppers from the PD, patrolling the scene from above. And according to eyewitnesses there, the Miami police was not dispatched there for a juvenile fight. And the obvious need for such an enormous police presence was far more sinister than what we've been told. As multiple witnesses claimed to have seen, I can't believe I'm going to say this, creatures that stood 8 to 10 feet tall, walking outside and even inside of the mall. And the pew-pews that were reported, and even the pew-pews you might hear in some of the videos, had nothing to do with the juvenile fight. According to these witnesses, it was actually the mall goers shooting to protect themselves from these 8 to 10 foot tall creatures in self-defense.
Yeah, no, that's why I came right here.
Streets, that's a common thing over there, the way they park the police cars. There's a lot of them that park like that.
The helicopter flying above, a Apparently, after this incident was phoned into the police, the black PD helicopters were the only things flying that night in the Miami sky, as the Miami airport was shut down. Still no flights going or coming at Miami International, only one PD helicopter patrolling the area. The absolute lack of this story anywhere is absolutely driving me mad. On my Google search, I found nothing. I found crickets. Ironic. Even my ex, not my ex, even X let me down. Well, my ex let me down too, but that's a whole nother story. As when I searched on X, this is what I found. No results for people shooting at Miami Mall, 8 to 9 feet tall creatures. Okay, valid. Let's remove the obvious. Do another search without the 8 to 9 foot tall creatures. Well, now that's suspicious. Still no results for Miami Mall shooting January 2024. Now that's very suspicious, because judging by the size of the police presence, a helicopter, but wait, there's more. You would think even X would have one post about it.
What the hell is she talking about? She mad long-winded.
There would be in situations like this when the media chooses not to report, if we didn't have incredible people going to social media to post details about it themselves. Can someone confirm they've cut the police scanner? Check flight tracker. Doesn't look like any flights leaving or coming into MIA. You can see the helicopter doing loops. Yes, they cut the scanners. Multiple people claim they saw 8 to 10 foot tall aliens or very tall zombies, and it caused shoppers panic. There are now black helicopters flying and everything is blocked off. Power has also been cut in a few blocks and at the mall. So you're going to tell me that the police literally cut the public's access to the police scanners, all because some juveniles are fighting with sticks? Okay. And they're going to cut the power, not only to surrounding areas, but also the power to the mall itself. So much so that 61,290 homes are without power at that time. On Reddit, we found anyone following what happened in Miami last night, apparently mass sighting of 7 to 10 foot tall creatures. Flights halted, police radio cut off, and helicopters patrolling. So are you really telling me that they're hoping, they're praying that we are all going to just believe this? Miami police, a large fight broke out involving several juveniles, some of whom may have been armed with some kind of sticks. Police are still continuing their investigation at this time. Okay, you know who else is doing their investigation at this time? Me and the rest of the world. You cannot be serious when you tell me you're going to cut the power to the mall and multiple homes in Miami, shut down a whole airport, no planes in and no planes out, have hundreds of police officers storming the mall, rushing to the scene, and black PD helicopters scouring and patrolling the area from above, all simply because of a juvenile fight where some of the juveniles were armed with some kind of sticks. No, sir, I kindly reject this. I do not believe this at all. So guys, I'm curious, what are your thoughts? Because to you, does this look like the type of police presence that would ever be warranted or required for a fight between juveniles with sticks?
All right, we can stop that. You guys get the gist of it. So
Yeah,
we got
please,
we
thank
got
you.
seven. You got what, 8 to 10 foot aliens running around in Miami, Chris. I mean, why didn't you tell us? I mean, why didn't the Miami Heat draft some of them? I mean, where you can recruit some of these guys, you know. I mean, you look at Chris Bosh, he kind of looks like an alien. I mean, you get some.
Damn,
I don't know.
Chris
Explain
Bosh
it to
caught
me,
us
sir.
straight. You know, I don't really, I don't know. To be quite honest, I thought, you know, because it was a bunch of black kids and they were jumping. It was a white kid who was getting jumped. So it sounds like to me, it seems as if the white folks wanted it to be a major story, so they turned it into aliens. And where this other shit came from, I don't really know. So I don't really. I follow a local Instagram page. I follow a page on Instagram that's local to Miami. They had videos posted all over the place of the fight. There was a bunch of people out there. So again, this is like stupid shit that, you know, certain white folks made up to try to bring more attention to the actual fight. But and now it took a life on its own. Now people don't even care about the fight, and they really looking for aliens down in the 305.
Yeah, it's like I threw it a little I threw in a little when Warren was like stealing my bits, you know. Learn from Cedric the Entertainer. I'm just playing. We'll talk about that later, definitely. But I just wanted to throw that in there because you know what? Good point. Warren said, wasn't there another story not long ago about the family who called the cops because they saw a 10-foot alien in their backyard? That is correct. That happened in Vegas. And that guy started a channel about aliens and all that. And it's just been a lot of, the whole alien stuff, going on. I honestly, like the Heel and Breaking Points love to cover any kind of alien stuff. And I just kind of like, I'm gonna skip that segment.
I'll watch no, we're not doing that. I don't pay any attention to it.
We covered that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's just something that I thought, we could throw in a little humor because especially TikTok is a hilariously funny place.
Well, didn't they show us aliens last year and they look like fucking little troll type things, remember?
Yeah, that's that big release that I guess the Pentagon, or not the Pentagon, but what is it? No, it's not NASA. What's the other one?
Space Force.
Something that's a NSA that the NSA released, and they showed us,
they had the little gremlin looking creature,
the one that looked like it was from Men in Black. And bringing to the stage one of our friends, colleagues, one of the men who's definitely got a lot to add to these hilarious segments that we have coming up, and so much more. From AM Wake Up and Slow News Day and a whole bunch of other shows we can't even keep up with, it's Steve Poikinen.
What's happening, you guys?
What's up, brother? How we doing?
Good,
so what's your thoughts on the 8 to 10 foot aliens in the mall fighting?
A fucking break, man. Did it like clockwork. Like clockwork, all of the freaking grifters just aliens. There's alien. Chris Rancast broke it down, like smashed it to hell and gone. Found out that like the one witness dude or whatever that put that TikTok out that was like, yeah, man, he put another one out where he was like, you dumb fucks, I was trolling. Like, thanks for making me viral for a minute, but you guys are idiots. Like, how could you really be that gullible? And so, of course, there's 25% of the conspiracy community that's like, they got to him, but no, man, it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
Again,
you've never heard of a disproportionate police response before? Didn't we just spend 3 years arguing about it? Does everybody forget that there were people out in the streets like for months on end because there was a disproportionate police response in general to every always? And then the state's response to that was like, we're gonna give us more of your money to give to our police department. Do we forget all of that shit? And it's fucking what? The Epstein list drops. People start asking questions. All of a sudden, the guy who's supposed to defend Israel, Alan Dershowitz, in front of the fucking ICC for genocide, that guy gets re-outed as a pedophile again. And they're like, oh, aliens.
Yeah. I mean, the whole aliens thing is fucking hilarious. And I knew that it was coming because there's so many people who want to believe in aliens so badly. And I mean, I blame a lot of that on fucking X-Files. It had us all fucking wanting to believe fucking aliens. And I look at it like this. And I said this when the guy with the 10-foot the set had the fucking alien that was hiding behind his fucking John Deere in Nevada, outside of Las Vegas. And I'm like, dude, for one, you're telling me that they had the technology to travel all the way across galaxies, which you don't even know where the fuck they came from, to get here and then fucking crash and not know what to do. I mean, that's what you want me to believe, that they were brilliant enough to cross all these galaxies, all these technology, but then get here and are fucking hide behind a tractor for you to
Right.
see them.
Right. The aliens are going to come from whatever galaxy, however many light years away, and they're going to be like, you know what, dude? Take me to a fucking Cinnabon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, here's another thing. You brought up
Let's
a good
go
point.
hit up the Adidas store.
You brought up a good point about the police presence. Think about it. Anybody here, you want to see a police presence, get pulled over and tell a cop, I'm not fucking doing shit. Watch how fast you have about 8 cop cars behind you. And then say, I'm not getting out of the car. Roll your windows up. Watch how fast that turns to 25 cops. And it's just you by yourself. You telling me that about, let's see, I don't know how many kids it was. Let's say it was 7 or 8 kids. What kind of response do you think that's gonna warrant if they're running all over? And let's say they knock over some shit, they're breaking shit. And depending on the area also makes a difference too. Because, for instance, I remember one of our malls back home, when the fucking Crips and Bloods used to, like, when it was starting to get more out of control in KC, and they started like literally fighting and having shootouts in the mall, you can get fucking 50 to 100 cops like it's nothing. Have a bad police chase. I've seen somebody who was trying to cross back and forth from the Kansas-Missouri border have KCK police, KC Sheriff's Department, have KC Mo police, Missouri Sheriff Department, have the KBI, Kansas Bureau of Investigation, Missouri Bureau of Investigation, Kansas State Trooper, Missouri Trooper. I just named 8 different police agencies that came out for one high-speed chase. So police over response is nothing that's new in America, definitely.
From one end of Santa Cruz County to the other, you can go through 9 different police jurisdictions, and then the state and state cops and the sheriffs.
Mm-hmm.
And so there have been, a couple of different times where somebody tried to skedaddle on up towards San Jose or something and had 11 different fucking sets of cops on them from one county.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they didn't just bring one cop from each jurisdiction. They all brought friends.
No. And they always do bring friends. And
on
especially
one fucking chase from like one drunk guy or one high motherfucker or something like that.
And especially when we talk about like Florida police, they all ride one to a cop. One to a car. They all got separate cars. It's not like New York where it's 2 cops riding together.
Yeah, the only time
each cop car has a car. Each cop has his own car.
The only time there's a buddy cop in there is if he's a trainee.
Bingo.
And he's got like a supervising officer.
Oh yeah. So on to the next subject. I wanted to kind of talk about this because all of these subjects kind of roll into the next one, into the next one, into the next one. Bill Ackman, which shout out to Sabby Sabs, she's been doing a great job covering this whole, the anti-Semitism on the college campuses with the different people. And Bill Ackman, after he gets what's her name? I forgot her first name, but Professor Gay.
Yeah, Claudine Gay.
Claudine Gay. Thank you, fellas.
Yeah.
Claudine Gay. He gets her to finally fucking resign after enough pressure over plagiarism, which even the authors were like, that's kind of fucking minor. That was kind of bullshit.
Pretty
they went after
plagiarism, though.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't look into the claims. I just know that the only reason why they were even looking into the claims was because she was on the list of 3 that they wanted gone. Yeah. And when somebody wants you gone, they start digging for whatever they can find. And
Well, sure.
my point that I wanted to bring up that I thought was fucking hilarious is his wife is now is brought out about her fucking plagiarism. And so it's kind of hilarious how that karma fucking works. You go after somebody for plagiarism, and then you got it in your own fucking house.
I don't
and then
feel
the
like
tie
this is
with the Epstein shit with his wife.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that's fantastic. But what the rest of it is freaking hysterical because, okay, there's a deliberate political targeting of
Be
Claudine
right
Gay
back.
for
Mhm.
sure. Claudine Gay is a fucking diversity hire. She is. Harvard is an optics school. Of course, she plagiarized to get to where she was. She didn't have to work. Working is for suckers if you've got a system that rewards you if you check the right boxes, you've shaken the right hands, you've kissed the right babies, you've done the right fraternity or sorority rituals, you're part of the right clubs, and you can fucking enact the agenda that they put forward. She checked all of those boxes. They knew she was plagiarizing when she got her PhD because there's a board that you go to and sit in front of, and they grill you and they examine your sources with excruciating detail and all of that shit. So the board knew, so they were okay. And the overreaction to this, let's face it, fucking witch hunt over Zionism on behalf of Zionism,
Mm-hmm.
the fucking witch hunt has created this overreaction whereby the entire scam of the university system is about to get exposed because butthurt reactionaries are snarkily demanding accountability.
Mm-hmm.
They're suddenly demanding that people in these institutions get there by earning it and teach their kids something, which is something that nobody's really done for 50 years. So, as wild as all of it is, and as bullshit as all of it is, because it's again coming at the direct orders of Zionists to punish a handful of people over what they egregious pro Hamas demonstrations. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
if what comes out of it is accidental accountability, are you fucking kidding me? That's so funny. That's so funny.
Yeah. What's your thoughts, Chris?
Well, I agree with a lot of what Steve said. Obviously, from the start, the main reason why they went after her was because she did not shut down the anti-Israel protests on campus as fast as the Zionists wanted her to. They wanted her to come out with a heavy hammer and say, if you guys ever do this again, you won't be allowed to attend any college anywhere in the United States. That's what people like Bill Ackman wanted. And when she didn't move quick enough she didn't follow her orders fast enough, he said, oh, okay, bitch, you think you have some power here. Now I'm going to exercise my power. And to bring up Ackman, it's funny, right? He's playing the role that they don't want us ever talking about, but you're doing what we always say that you guys do. We say that you have control, you have influence, you're able to make things happen for people. You're also able to make things really bad for people. When we say this, you get upset when you say, yo, y'all run Hollywood, education, legal, da da da. They get offended and then they're like, whoa, we don't like that talk. But yet, look what happens. Don't do what I say, Harvard president, and we'll get you removed in a matter of weeks. You're lucky we allowed you to enter into 2024 with the title of president. We did you that favor. Now you're going to fall on this. You're going to fall on your face, and we're going to move on. And the part of this I did want to mention, though, is that the black people who are going nuts on Twitter, all these big black political accounts with large, pause that, all these large,
Black
accounts,
Boule.
yeah, all of them, they're all going crazy saying, oh my God, this is what white people do. This is white supremacy. They just had to attack a black woman. They're fearful of a smart black woman. Oh, it hurts the racists to see a black woman in a position of power. You fucking idiots. What power did she have? She didn't follow her orders. She's the president, you idiots. She didn't follow her very basic orders, and they removed her as if she was the janitor. So all of you saying that they're afraid of the power of a black woman, no, they're not. Going back to Steve's point, she was placed there. She was a DEI hire, affirmative action, whatever you want to call it. That's why she was there. As Steve said again, they knew about her plagiarism issue. They knew about that. Okay, they put her there for the optics, and when she didn't do her job, they fucking removed her. So for the black people who are screaming racism, and the picture they're painting is somebody with a Confederate flag who probably lives somewhere in Georgia or Tennessee or Indiana. That's not who you should be complaining to. You should be looking at it like, goddamn, the Zionists did it again. But these Negroids are taking this attitude, like when it comes to Israel, Palestine, they taking this, oh, not our fight bullshit, not our fight. But yet, look what they doing. You saying it's not your fight. You stepping back, they coming for you anyway. So you have best be prepared. When they're ready to come for you, they're going to come for you. And furthermore, to Mark Lamont Hill, he goes on Twitter like he's some kind of like he was Thanos with the glove and about to say some shit before he snapped, right? Harvard needs to hire another black president. Shut the fuck up. And again, black people, you know why I really don't feel bad, Marcus, is because motherfuckers be talking about the struggle that we go through and all this shit. Then they go to run to these Ivy League schools. They stay there forever. They talk down to their people. They show up every once in a while, maybe for Easter church service, maybe a summertime cookout, and then that's it. And they talk down to you and they talk at you. They don't live with you. They're like Cornel West even. Look, that's my dude. Same thing here. You don't think your mind could have been better spent in the hood somewhere? But where'd you stay? You stayed at fucking Princeton. Right? Yeah. All of these people, all of them in this Ivy League shit, they want to get tenure because it's a nice check. I understand you need to pay the bills. So I get it. That's your job. But please don't tell me that like Harvard is where you need to be. I mean, look, it's all fake shit anyway, dog. It's all who you know, who your daddy know, who your mama know, who your uncle works with, who your sister sleeps with, who works the door at the club, who gets somebody drugs on this day, that day. That's all that fucking place is. It's a cesspool. And all they do is connect on their families. You know what I mean? Because all their families don't know each other. So you're not really doing anything, black man, black woman, by becoming president of Harvard. You're not helping black folks. You understand? You don't make me look. You don't make me look good as a black person because you are the president of Harvard or that you're tenured.
You mean to tell me? You mean to tell me when you walked into the job right after Claudine Gay got appointed as president at Harvard, Marcus, you too, when you walked in the job, they didn't go, God damn, way to be. You did it. You made it. Hey, look, in honor of this moment, we're gonna give you $3 an hour raise, and we're gonna let you use the white parking spaces. They didn't do that?
Correct.
I mean, it's hilarious to me, like this whole thing, and I know I might piss off some people when I say this, but honestly, anytime you see people like us who of the darker hue who get into these positions, Go look at their backgrounds. And I'm not talking about look for the plagiarism necessarily. Sabby did a good job covering a lot of this with this whole Bill Ackman thing because she's been all over it. For those who don't know, she when she did her career in higher ed, she was at MIT. And so that's the same place where Bill Ackman's wife was at, and some of this Epstein stuff was going on. And especially when you're dealing with the Ivy Leagues, if you see somebody with a black face or a brown face up there, it's because they've kissed the right amount of asses to get there. Because all of that stuff is about nepotism. And if you get there and you don't have somebody who's 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 generations in there, no, you got there because they know that you're a beard for them. You're a face that they can put out there. Oh, look, we got a black woman who, I don't know if she's lesbian or not. She kind of looks like one, but that's another matter. But put somebody in there who's gonna appease people, gonna make them feel good, and know that at any point in time, their string can always be pulled. And that's the whole point of putting people like her in that situation. And for those black people who think this is about racism, I mean, even if it was, what do you say about the other one who got forced to resign and his tweet that or post that he going after the next one too? Remember, it's 3 that they want out. 2 are white, and that's not a race thing. They just decided you didn't jump how I said jump on this Israel-Palestine situation, so you got to fucking go. And adding to what Chris was saying earlier, to that community, I'm gonna speak directly to the camera. You cannot keep on saying it's anti-Semitic if you say Jewish people are controlling stuff, when if somebody gets in trouble, a Jewish person pops up and yanks them out of that spot. It's just like if I run a fucking company and I decided to fire you and you said, well, that black man fired me from my job, because it's a fucking fact. If I own a company, that means I have the power to it. If most of these people are controlled by fucking donor money, then the donors have the fucking control. And obviously this donor just showed he had plenty of fucking control. It's the same thing with like I say, keep an eye out on fucking Kyrie, because I guarantee you they're trying to bait his ass, and he won't be there much fucking longer either after that new fucking owner.
I'm telling you, Kyrie's days. As soon as I saw that Mark Cuban was in negotiations with the Adelson family to purchase the Dallas Mavericks,
some of the most diehard Zionists,
you guys,
and they're a part of that. And I'm like, you have Kyrie Irving on this squad? Like, Kyrie, just start counting the days, because you're only one clip. You're one post-game clip away from being told don't show up to the arena anymore.
Kyrie knew what he was doing when he started having Andre 3000's Flu album haircut. He knew. He knew. That's a smart man. That's a savvy man. That's a man who's prepared for everything that's about to come his way. I wouldn't worry about him at all.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Straight.
But but you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. He's got a short clock.
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna go play in fucking Europe or something. That's what I would do.
Marcus, to your point about look, Kanye West said something that they didn't like. The homeboy, I can't even remember his name anymore, but that dude, his brother, Emmanuel's brother, right? He puts out that.
Oh, yeah, Rahm Emanuel's brother.
Ari Emanuel.
Aria, yeah.
Yeah. So he puts the word out, and all these businesses stop doing business with Kanye West. Kyrie posts a link, and he's suspended and has to go to like 100 synagogues in New York City, right? You have Claudine Gay here, and black people keep talking about racism. It's not racism play. You either play this game or you don't. And this applies to everybody. The white people don't fall for it as much.
Wait, I don't know, man. Yes and no. Yes,
Yeah, yes
because
and no.
you've got the whole evangelical church, which
Mhm,
falls for it hook, line, and sinker. You've
mhm.
got the Northern Baptists, which fall for it hook, line, and sinker. You've got like I mean a
Neoliberals, suburban neoliberals.
in general, yeah. Then you've got people who just kind of culturally unless you're in very specific pockets of white America, and even then, like specific segments, culturally, at least for the last 70, 80 years, enough generations for most of the kids right now to walk around feeling it at any rate. It's always been, oh, the Jews were, done really, really wrong, and we support them, and they're our only friend over there. And that's like all these people know, and they
Yeah.
don't think about it too hard because they've never had to. And it's like, dude, there's way less people in the US than the caricature of like the Jew hating neo-Nazi or whatever. That person is so few and
Correct.
far between.
I couldn't agree more with that, Steve. Marcus and I was having a conversation earlier, and we were saying, like, there's not a whole bunch of rednecks getting in their trucks and driving to black neighborhoods these days and shooting up the spot. And are there some who are about that action? Absolutely, but
For sure.
are they of any significant number that people need to be concerned about? No. Like I told Marcus, they struggling to pay their bills. They can't even get their own shit together. Their own life is in shambles. So, I mean, that could potentially make them more dangerous, of course. But, however, they trying to, get their shit together. They not, So, and of course, I do know, obviously, that particular group, I think personally, has a thing against black folks. But, we'll save that for another program. But I just think in these particular instances, this was just whoever was there was going to get it, because if it was, a white guy there who didn't do it, if it was a Jewish person, if it was Norm Finkelstein who was the president of Harvard, they would have said, "Get your Jewish ass out of here."
Well, actually, they would have said self-hating Jewish ass out of here.
Oh yeah.
That's what they would have thrown in.
There
They
would
don't
have been
forget that.
there would have been a public struggle session where all of Harvard's fucking giant Zionists, from like Dershowitz to Al Franken, everybody in between, would have come and fucking harangued him publicly. And the only
Correct.
reason they didn't do that with Claudine Gay is because she's a black woman.
Yeah, but it's
Well, I
all
think-
behind the scenes.
Oh, guaranteed.
Well, what they did
and
was-
she's good.
I was gonna say what they did was we know that the real reason why they got rid of her, right? Boom. So we set that off to the side, right? The other part is then they let the narrative though be controlled by the racists online who just don't like black people, and that they're the ones who talked about, oh, she's not good enough, she's a plagiarist. They're the ones who went on that, and that's what got into the nerves of the black people who are now saying like, yo, you're doing this because it was a black woman, etc., etc. So they were very smart in that move. Again, they made the shit happen, and they backed up into the shadows, and they let the normal sides, eat each other up and attack each other up. But again, as you stated, the plagiarism wasn't a problem for her to get the job.
Yeah, but on that note, we kind of brought up a little something, briefly talked about the Epstein thing, and so the Epstein list it dovetails from this because his wife has some connections, and like I learned a lot about this. Savvy was talking about how a lot of them took donations, and he's this big private. He was like a private donor, and how he's tied in. That's the reason why in the thumbnail I put him in there with his Harvard T-shirt on. And so this whole.
Marcus, the unfortunate
go ahead.
aspect to the Epstein, the unfortunate part of the Epstein story is that people, they get caught up on the sex. You mentioned sex, and humans, especially Americans, is like it's like Pavlov's dog if you mention sex, right? So they missed all of the other shit Epstein was doing because they're so focused on who was on his plane, who was on the island. If you follow the money to see what he was doing, he was very much interested and invested in donating money to schools to do research in a number of scientific areas. So he was trying to, clearly, this is a dude who said he wanted to reseed humanity with his nut. You need a couple of scientists, I would think, to do something like that. Maybe one or two.
Yeah.
Well, we know about a bunch of that stuff. Steven Pinker. We know about what's his name, Nathaniel Wolf, I believe, who was Ghislaine Maxwell's geneticist buddy from Biota, whatever. About we know that him and a bunch of other weirdos, Peter Nygaard included, shared this sort of immortality viewpoint.
I was gonna say I just wanted to add this in so that you'll add on to this because I know where you were kind of going. Make sure to bring up the what was it, his like own personal Island of Dr. Moreau shit that was going on, because I remember you and Tease and Ryan were talking about it the other day.
Well, yeah, God, where was I just watching that clip too? But I mean, there's a pretty infamous clip now where it's Nygaard at the table with a couple of like really hot black chicks, and he's trying to talk them into giving up their basically like their eggs.
He said eggs and anything, Menzies and all that. I'll take anything you got.
Yeah. I mean, So, they wanted to repopulate the world and or future colonies with just their seed, and they were going to use all basically Peter Nygaard was like, I'm gonna use a bunch of different model chicks to house my seed and birth my babies based on what kind of stock I think they are.
Correct. Yeah. So they didn't, and again, that goes into the transhumanist aspect of the conversation, but that's where the money and the research takes you. It doesn't take you anywhere else, right? And so when it comes to Epstein, the Mossad, and all these other people, we know that there are honeypot operations. We know they entrap people. Eugenics. Thank you, Iris. That's a major plan of theirs. Like it didn't die. They just found better ways to market the shit and to get it past your censors.
Well, and who else was talking about that? Burmis was talking about this too. That this is something that he definitely was trying to work on, and
Homeboy's still on the Vivek train.
I don't know. I don't know if he's on the Vivek train still.
He's on look, man. I love Jason Burmis. Everybody knows that, dude. That's my dog. He's on the I'm keeping a show on the air so that I can pay these bills tip right now. Everybody should go give him some love so that he could get back to doing his own thing, because I know he doesn't want to be doing that right now.
Because I'm like, where is this dude talking Vivek? And I'm like, you just went through COVID. You did all this research you did all this background research. You had all these people in your program. And then you're like, Vivek.
Yeah, somebody let that man go back to being self-produced. Get way better Burma's content that way. He's working for a network, and he's doing, I understand. I do. He don't want to go back to fucking making pizzas. Who does?
Yeah.
I get it. But at the same time, that's what I'm saying. Marcus and I, we just two dudes. You know what I'm saying? We just talking our shit. We grateful for the people. Oh, I knew he was frozen. But we just grateful for the people who tune in. We don't try to mislead people. We try to be a little funny sometimes, and we try to be a little bit informative from a perspective that we don't feel a lot of people, bring to the table. So. That's what I see. There we go. Where is he? There he goes.
Yeah.
No, I mean I get it, dude. I'm not like I said. He's working for a company and doing a hell of a good job working for that company. I hope he gets to go back to being self-produced soon. I understand what and why he's doing, and I support the eventuality that he's going to be self-produced again.
Okay. I hear you.
Yeah, I mean,
I can sit here and roast him all night, but I'd rather call him and do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
But just send a message from the political matrix. Like, yeah, dog, that's not a good look. You need to relax.
Yeah, it's like, man, we love the work you do. We love the work you've done all these years, but I mean, where we disagree, we're not afraid to say we disagree. Man, I mean, and he knows this system. He knows the bullshit that's going on. He knows. I mean, and there's other people who out there in our community that know better, that I see them doing stuff they should.
Well, look, man, there's also people people aren't willing to accept the idea that some people in the media are playing a longer term game in terms of their ability to continue to do this, and 2/3 of their show or shows is speaking more or less mainstream shit to a mainstream audience, and then they've got another part of either their show or some shit for graduates where they speak a little bit more freely. Our friend Garland Nixon is one of those people. Garland has fucking fascinating and top tier analysis at whatever level of viewing audience you put him in front of, but he's not gonna sit there on public radio at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning on the call-in show and be like, no, motherfucker, the state's bullshit. In fact, blood, like that's not the venue for that. But a lot of people that listen to that radio show find their way over to his Rockfin channel where it's fucking, Church with Garland Nixon. He's playing a longer term game.
It's a great point, because I tell people that also that in some stuff I play the longer game too, and I understand that in what we're about to face, what I feel like coming in this next year from 2024 to 2025, if the whole world doesn't get blown to shit by then, we're gonna have like a massive amount of censorship that's coming that I don't think most people are ready for. Now it's not gonna creep like it's been doing. It's gonna get fucking accelerated, and we're going to see that. And so some are starting to be careful and knowing how to couch their language, and okay, I'm only gonna say this on this platform, and know what I can say here and there. And not necessarily, I'm not saying change your message. I'm just saying be careful how you word it. Just like in the military, I would tell supervisors to fuck off sometimes, but I didn't literally say fuck off. You get what I'm saying? There's a way to say things and be diplomatic, where he's sitting there thinking afterwards, like, did this motherfucker just... He said sir at the end, and he was kind of nice about the way he said it, so I can't really smash him like I'd like to. And that's the same thing like we do with some of this shit. We still get the message out there, but some people feel you need to like be like so blunt with it that a 4-year-old can understand it. And you don't always have to do that.
Well, people always want more. You know what I mean? They always want you to do the one thing that you didn't talk about that day. They always have one thing that's their thing. And if you don't agree with or fully understand or haven't dedicated your life and your show to their thing, they get mad at you. You know, some people are just there to hate, and then some people have legitimate disagreements on a number of very, very, very valid and rational things, you know, and all of you, it's just fucking part of it. And what you do with your show, it's like I got into a position where I threw it out there and tried to see if it would work to do it as a value for value show. And it kind of has. So I'm going to keep doing it. You know what I mean? But for the first 3 years, I had 2 jobs. You know, I was the married, living with like all that shit, dude, fucking, and it was just kind of something that I did to fucking dump my brain out, talk about some shit, you know, have some interesting conversations with people smarter than me and ask them questions.
Yeah. Which we still, and we kind of do that to a degree. Like we might not say everything explicitly, but we still talk about what we want to. Also, and it gives us a little bit more freedom than some other content creators, because if we get banned for a week or two, we still got day jobs. Some people are like, they cannot fucking afford to go 2 weeks not streaming. Some people, it'd be fucking, you know. And so I get it.
I know. I know.
And I think,
I had a day off in years, man.
Well, but also in your case, you film on a network that gives you more latitude to, you know, where you're not, where you really got to go fucking over.
No fucking very limited, like,
limited reach.
Base.
Oh yeah.
And fucking, dude, with the limited amount of people that there are on the platform, I don't know how many downloads Rockfin has overall. I don't know how many people overall are on the platform, but I know that we're consistently in the top 2 or 3 shows for any given week. That is one of our episodes. All 4 for the week are in the top 10. I know, you know, all that shit. But Rockfed stopped paying per view for free shit. You know that.
Yeah.
You know, and we don't paywall content, you know, so that's a hit because we were getting a little bit. It wasn't a lot, but it didn't suck. You know what I mean? But I don't want to talk about
it. We'll talk about that. I'll just call you and we'll talk about that off cam, you know, because we understand, you know, for those who don't understand the content creator kind of like stuff that we deal with behind the scenes. It's, even though me and Chris, we kind of like run it more as a hobby. It's still kind of a business in a sense, you know, for us, even though we're not focusing on any of the monetary side of it. But I understand we still got to fucking deal with the same headaches of content creators who it is a business model for them. So, you know, we still got to play ball. For instance, I went for like God knows how long not making any of the shows paywalled on Rockfin, and there's a price to pay for that. Which now I mix a couple in, some are premium and some are not, and just so I can start off the year on a little bit better footing. Because you know, if you say you're going to do something, which I did agree that it was a certain amount that I would do, I just want to, you know, do that, and then once you tail off, then I'll throw some more free ones back out there. Plus, You guys can catch it on YouTube. Now, if it's any time where we're going to talk about some real shit and we got to hop off YouTube and go Rockfin exclusive, then I will make those episodes completely free, of course. But if you can get both either way, then hey, it is what it is.
Exactly.
So technically, it's none of it's paywall technically because you can still get it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The next topic, we got one more topic before we get into the one which I know everybody is dying to talk about, the Katt Williams one. But like, what's going on right now in the Israel-Palestine, Israel-Gaza stuff, news that I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit. South Africa officially filing a case with the ICJ for genocide. And, you know, I read through some of it. I have it here. I mean, I guess I can read a little bit of it, you know, just so we can say that we have done it for those who haven't read any of it. Huh?
So essentially, Marcus, let me see if I could guess right before you start. So they just basically told the truth about what is happening, and they're like, "Oh, this is fucked up," and you know, the court is going to say, "Yeah, we hear you. We'll take it under, you know, advice, and you know, sorry, we're not going to do anything."
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to read this one paragraph on page 9. And then Chris, you have that. I'm not going to put it on the screen because, Chris, remember that that picture that I sent you?
Okay.
I want you to put that up on the screen because honestly, numbers tell the story more than anything. So I'll just read this little part right here. It says civilians throughout Gaza face grave danger. Since the start of Israel's military operation, more than 15,000 people have reportedly been killed, over 40% of whom were children. Thousands of others have been injured. More than half of all the homes have been destroyed. Some 80% of the population of 2.2 million have been forcibly displaced into increasingly smaller areas. More than 1.1 million people have sought refuge in UNRWA facilities across Gaza, which keep that in note because there's something, a little clip that I want to show you guys in a minute about that UNRWA. What was that? Let me see. Oh shoot! I guess Steve popped out. Well,
my internet crapped out.
It's all. I told you the other day, Steve. It's something that's going on because it's been happening with everybody. I've been noticing show after show after show. Everybody's all having the same issue now, so something's up with it. Hopefully, somebody who's covering the tech stuff and censorship stuff, maybe. Hopefully, you guys are onto it and can give us you know, a heads up. So
that sunspot, man.
Maybe solar flares. But keep in mind this UNRWA. Now I'm gonna go back and reread that.
Oh, you mean
more
Hamas.
More than 1.1 million people have sought refuge in UNRWA facilities across Gaza, creating overcrowded, undignified, and unhygienic conditions. Others have nowhere to shelter and find themselves on the streets. Explosive remnants of war are rendering areas uninhabitable. There is no effective protection of civilians. The healthcare system in Gaza is collapsing. Hospitals have turned into battlegrounds. Only 14 hospitals out of 36 facilities are even partially functional. The two major hospitals in the south of Gaza are operating at 3 times their bed capacity and are running out of basic supplies and fuel. They are also sheltering thousands of displaced persons. Under these circumstances, more people will die untreated in the coming days and weeks. Nowhere is safe in Gaza. Now, I'll end with that statement because one of the things which they say is it's always very, very difficult to prove genocide because you have to prove intent. And there's even been scholars who, from Auschwitz of all places, who were like, yes, this is genocide. This is clearly genocide. So let's go over some of these numbers.
Which does that mean you now have to question it?
I mean,
What?
yeah, I'm like, I ain't gonna touch that one. But right here, this number says 30,000, over 30,000 killed. Actually, Chris, can you read that off? What is that? 58,000 injured. 105.
58,900. Yeah, 58,960 injured. 105 journalists killed. 1.9 million displaced. 67,000, almost 68,000 completely destroyed homes. Almost 180,000 partially destroyed homes. 170 destroyed, almost destroyed press headquarters, 318 schools, 1,600 facilities, almost 200 healthcare facilities, 524 medical professionals killed, 200 mosques. That's
This is like the level of destruction is. I don't think a lot of people are getting the gravity of like how.
Well, and they're not even talking about the refugee camps that are being bombed. They're not talking about the fact that like the the blockades that are created intentionally while these people are trying to flee before they even get to where they're being bombed on the open road. Like the whole thing's just fucking wild.
And so this is what we're looking at already, and they're saying, "Oh, well, we're being careful. We're not trying to just blow up everything, and we're not trying. We're being very careful with the civilians." I got this clip that I want to show you because remember what I said. In most genocide cases, the hardest thing to prove to verify that something is a genocide, according to the UN definitions and all that, is intent. So I have this video that I wanted to share. Let me pull this up real quick. Just some statements. To kind of, because this is one thing which they say is different from most genocides. It's pretty clear, let's skip ahead a little bit. So I want you to check this out.
Jason, what's good?
My name is Natalia. I'm conscientious
Iris asked, how do these people sleep at night? They sleep just fine. They know what they're doing. They're not above sacrifice.
Well, and they have drugs. They have the best pharmaceuticals.
I'm reminded, Marcus, real quick. Marcus, before you play that, real quick, I just want to say this to all that we just talked about with all the destruction, right? They were building a restoration hardware here downtown, right, a couple years ago. And before they started the construction work, they had, put the gates up and the fences, all that good shit. And they had a sign out front and it said, every act of creation begins with an act of destruction. So, I'm looking at that like, oh, okay, yeah, they're going to break down whatever's there and rebuild. It's the same principle there, except that it's theirs now. Who will reconstruct that place, who will own it, who will sell the real estate, as we talked about, that's the major part. I mean, not the major part, not before people dying, but I mean, after the shelling stops, right?
Yeah, I mean, when they ask like, how can these people sleep? Have you listened to Israeli TV? Have you ever had a conversation with a Zionist? Because when you have a conversation with a hardcore real Zionist, you understand that they're literally living in a different reality than you are.
Yeah.
I mean, you're dealing with somebody that completely has built up a whole nother reality than what you're seeing. And when you hear the statements that are in this video, It'll give you, and keep in mind, because you'll have people say, like I heard this one journalist in the not BBC, but she's a UK journalist, and she was saying, I don't defend Netanyahu. By defending Israel, by defending this campaign, you are defending Netanyahu. That's just an idiotic statement to make, because you're defending the policies which Netanyahu is putting into place. You can't say that you're not defending Netanyahu when you're defending his policies.
Well,
that's
Netanyahu is
stupid.
out of favor in the American political West now, and his own country hates him to the tune of like 85% currently.
But these policies, when you look at some of the polling is like 90% of them basically agree with this policy. You have some who are like,
it's not
I agree.
Netanyahu's policy. In fact, the people that are taking credit for it are Naftali Bennett and Ben Gvir and
Smotrich.
Yeah, so
Smotrich, Gvir, and Bennett are like three of the major, and you could say Herzog also.
Shout to Greg Walker.
But you can say, honestly, you can just sum it up to the Likud party in general. It's the whole Likud party that believes this. And the Likud party is the party that's in power right now.
Currently, yeah, but Naftali Bennett and what's his name, Ben Gvir and Smotrich is Likud, but Bennett and Ben Gvir are two other further right, like basically like Chabad parties.
No, he is Chabad, but they're under the Likud still. They kind of fit. It's kind of
not
like
when Bennett was prime minister. He was with a different party like a year and a half ago. Yeah, I understand that they caucus with Likud and that makes up the bulk of the Knesset because that's the majority government. But I am almost positive that it's a multi-party like
it is
rather than. And I understand that Likud is the party in power. But if you ask Naftali Bennett what political party do you belong to, he would not answer, I belong to the Likud party.
Well, I'm not sure on Naftali Bennett. I know Ben Gvir is Likud, though. Even though technically he's only Likud part of getting the numbers, and that's a recent development. He wasn't always Likud. And also he kind of had to switch because they weren't going to allow him to take the position he was taking unless he adopted the Likud party. And so in order for him to get that position over the IDF, he kind of had to convert. But I mean, his ideology is still the same. Janice says Likud is Ergon renamed. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, all they've done is just rebranded themselves. All of them are the right to the far right. I mean, it's the difference of saying, I'm an evangelical and I'm Tea Party. I mean, most of the time that was one and the same. The only difference was one is more religious than the other. But I mean, and that's kind of what you have here. Whereas the Ben Gvir is the hard right religious one, whereas what's his name? Netanyahu is religious, but not really. I mean, that's the only difference. Ben Gvir is like a true believer in, like, he believes God is empowering this moment in favor of the Jewish people. Well, same with Smotrich also.
Smotrich is a special case. But like
in more than one way.
Again, but let's before we run the video real quick though. I mean, but the people that you're going to hear sound schizophrenic, and they're not. They have been brainwashed since birth to believe that they are God's special chosen people sent here to rule over his dominion, that there are other creatures here on this planet that are eventually going to come to understand that true happiness is being subservient to them, and that when they get a little uppity and out of hand, it's okay to use some tough love. That's okay. And that every single person who isn't you wants to kill you.
Yes.
And they've done the most horrible things on the planet just because you're you, because you're special, and they can't live with that, and they can't tolerate that, and they hate you, they hate you, they hate you. And this is, oh, and by the way, it's time for math. Okay, how many Arabs can you kill if you drop one smart bomb into an open apartment building?
Yeah. I mean, Smotrich, for those who are familiar with it, like really familiar with this, he said his hero is Daniela Weiss. And for those who don't know, Daniela Weiss is like one of the most hardcore, like hardcore believers. Like some people would consider her a literal terrorist. This is who the man looks up to. She was a long time mayor in the settlements, and like he literally talks, and you'll hear it in here. Like one of the things he says, I think I'm not sure if they have him on Video Center or they're quoting him, where he talks about like that some of Gaza's land should go back to the settlement that was shut down and given back to the Palestinians during 67, when they had to come to their agreement and give up one of the settlements. Which, if you see the video to it, it is fucking nuts. You've seen it, right, Steve? Where they're fucking all crying and boohooing, and they're really acting like somebody fucking died, like they were massacred, like it was a massacre to happen.
It's funny. You have TikTok up. Just the TikToks coming out of there from the regular people there,
Israelis,
just the the TikTok
so
alone. It says a lot about them. And
well, don't forget that all of those regular citizens have all done time in the IDF, the IOF.
Yep.
Yes, as per their law.
Yep. And so the difference between when you look at a so-called Israeli civilian, air quotes, I've frozen, so putting up air quotes. It's not like American civilians, which you might see talking on TV. Every one of them has served in the IDF, and so technically are a veteran and can be recalled. So you're not just looking at like a regular old civilian. You're looking at somebody at some point in time who served in the IDF. And for instance, a lot of people would look at them as basically just reservist. They're on the back burners because plenty of them are getting called back right now. Speaking of that, that rabbi, which I'll show that after the clip, but some of it, I'm telling you, and this is what I'll say. Watching Israeli TikTok, I don't think I've seen a population of people who are more cold-hearted, just like no mercy at all to anybody that's not them.
Oh, brainwashed, heavily
Zero.
medicated fucking nightmares.
It literally sounds like if you took like hardcore Nazi sympathizers and brought them to fucking 2024, this is some of the shit I would expect to hear out of them. I mean, it's fucking dystopian the way these people talk. I mean, I can't imagine anybody who could just look at children and say some of the shit that they say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But let's go on ahead and play it. Oh, let's see, hold on. And by the way, this is Owen Jones from Navarra Media, which Navarra's been doing some pretty good coverage of some of this stuff. A little bit redundant what they've been doing, but decent coverage.
honor of interviewing her on this channel, please do have a listen to that. Now, listen to this video. Listen carefully.
Volume.
It's put together by the Refuser Solidarity Network. That brings together Israeli conscientious.
I think that's all I got.
It's also made by donkeys who do political videos in the UK. Many of you may already be aware of that.
My name is Atalia Benaba. I'm a conscientious objector. I refuse to serve in the Israeli military because I refuse to take part in the occupation of the Palestinian people. I spent 4 months in military prison because of that. I want people of the world to know the genocidal language that is being used by Israel extremist government.
תשמיד את עזה עכשיו, עכשיו. עזה הופכת לדרזדן, כן.
It's an entire nation out there that is responsible. It's not true. This rhetoric about civilians not aware, not involved, it's absolutely not true.
אנחנו מטילים מצור מוחלט על העיר עזה. אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק. הכל סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם ואנחנו נוהגים בהתאם.
מחר בבוקר, הציפייה שלך שהיינו מטילים מה שנקרא איזושהי פצצת אטום על כל עזה, משטחים אותה, מחסלים את כל מי שנמצא בה. זה דרך אחת.
We are too humane. They all fucking say that crazy shit. And then they're like, we should burn it.
יהיה להם לאן לחזור? אנחנו עכשיו מגלגלים בעצם את נכבת עזה, אם תרצה, נכבת עזה.
זו נכבת עזה, אבי דיכטר.
נכבת עזה 2023. זכור את אשר עשה לך עמלק, נצטווינו. אנו זוכרים ואנו נלחמים.
Netanyahu is using the word Amalek because he's referring to the biblical enemies of the Israeli people that were described in the Bible. This is what the Bible says about Amalek. Do not spare them, but put them to death, men, women, children, and infants. It is the only nation in the Bible that God orders the Jews to kill completely, so nothing is remembered of them. Please, people around the world who care about this issue, share the words of these leaders who are being a danger for Palestinians and Israeli hostages alike. We need to stop them. We need to stop this war.
Just listen to that. Absorb those words. This isn't normal. As Raz Sigal, the Israeli-American scholar of genocide and Holocaust studies, put it when I interviewed him, it's rare for intent to be so loudly communicated. Normally when regimes commit terrible crimes, they go to great lengths to cover it all up. Israeli leaders, officials, and media outlets, they're not doing that. Why, you might ask? Because they think they can get away with it. And indeed, as things stand, they will. Other regimes may fear war crimes tribunals or even the threat of Western military intervention. Indeed, if a state hostile to Western interests had committed even a fraction of Israel's atrocities, with rhetoric not as extreme as this, there'd be deafening demands for military intervention. It's striking that the US Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, today declared Israel has agreed to end widespread bombing and move towards precision targeting of Hamas. That isn't happening on the ground, by the way. But I beg your pardon. Sorry, what are you doing there? Just admitting casually that Israel has, in fact, been carpet bombing Gaza for the last 10 weeks with the total support of the US, which offers never-ending military aid, other forms of aid,
Marcus,
diplomatic.
pause there real quick.
Yeah, I
You
stopped it. I
know,
mean,
to add to that, I
mhm.
wanted- yeah. So to add to it, I wanted to say with other issues, there's a debate. There can be some debate on other issues about, what the end goals are, what the objectives look like. With this particular issue, there is no debate. There's no counter argument to make. They're telling you what they want to do. They're telling you what they are doing. To say anything else, is you just being willfully ignorant. You know what I'm saying? And stupid.
Well, what I would
There's
add to it, Chris, is
many of
one
them
thing that
who
I
openly.
Well, technically, there's no such thing as the Palestinian people. So
See?
it's okay.
well this
We'll
this
just
is
get on
something.
Jeffrey Epstein's plane and go to
And fly
not
away.
Epstein Island, but South Dakota and bury some Palestinian bodies. Dig them up later and say they were Indians.
Well, I mean, and when you mentioned that about digging up Palestinian bodies, it just came out recently where they admitted that one of the famous beaches that they love to go to in Israel was literally a mass grave of fucking Palestinians.
Dude,
That
okay,
happened in
so
1948.
and I understand that it's like midnight 15 over there where Chris is, and I want to talk about the Katt Williams thing. But you saw the picture, right, where they had fucking just a fuck ton of Palestinians in a ditch, and then they had loaded some of them up onto fucking boxcars and sent them on. Well, Haaretz and Jerusalem Post were kind of put on a spot to report that turns out a whole bunch of them died, and whoopsie, we sort of committed mass murder again.
Yeah, because the one thing that I was gonna say, kind of like my
Hey,
last
that
kind of
thing we
thoughts,
said happened, we're doing it.
we're doing it. I mean, and you can look back to some of the older IDF soldiers, which when I say IDF, I say Israel's Devil Force. They admit, I mean, some of these older soldiers from the fucking 40s, 50s, and 60s, they admit, yeah, we literally were putting babies in ovens. Like, they admit it. Like, yeah, some of us, guys got a little itch in the middle of the night and decided to go in there and go get some. And yeah, they're admitting to like casually raping women and all that stuff. Oh, that's right. You're not supposed to say, the R word. Sexually assaulting. How about that? Does that work? YouTube, does that work? Okay, hopefully that works. But yeah, they were literally
But you can't say
forcing
that
themselves
either?
on women. Yeah, I think that's one of the words they say that you're not supposed to say or something now. They come out with these different guidelines which are never fucking clear. And then they just punish you for it and say, well, yeah, you should have fucking known. Yeah. But anyway, the one thing that I'll say is this mentality of which a lot of Israelis have, like, oh, the whole world just hates us and everybody picks on us. If you met a woman who's been engaged to 15 times and she's not married, would you think that it was something wrong with the 15 guys? Or at some point, would you ever ask if it's something fucking wrong with that woman?
I would probably suspect that woman was a black widow.
Well, I'm saying she didn't get married. She just got engaged.
Well, yeah, you never. Well, I guess.
Because you got to marry him first to get the.
I suppose, yeah. Well, then, yeah. No, that's a really bad. You got to be like the Cleveland Browns
to never get married. To
go 0-15 like that. Yeah,
or if you did, let's say she did marry all 15 and now she's a fucking widow 15 times. Hello. Either scenario, you're fucking idiotic if you don't look back to that fucking woman. Now you're gonna tell me, as a nation of people, you got kicked out of 190 countries and it was all 190 countries just hated you for no fucking reason at all. You did nothing at all. You did absolutely fuck zero. That's what you're doing. That's the bullshit that you want to fucking run here. That all every single and so you're telling me like after the 100 and like after like 120 countries of fucking taking you in and booting you out and taking you in and booting you out, these other countries didn't know you already been kicked out of 120 countries, and they're like, hey, I feel sorry for you. Come on, buddy, you can stay with us. And then they fucking kick you out too.
Religious persecution.
Yeah.
Well, why are you being persecuted? Because we're Jews. Well, that seems like a really vague answer, and it seems like there may be some specifics. Well, that's a very anti-Semitic question. I don't understand why you're asking it. I'm highly offended. This is my attorney.
Damn, that accent is fucking dead on. Oh man, that was fucking dead on. That one in the JFK and when you do the fucking Biden, those three get me every time. But I mean, and get offended. I mean, hey, I put it this way: if anything I say offends the group of people, and they feel like, well, you're just coming after us. Keep in mind, I didn't grow up around Jewish people. I don't hardly even know any Jewish people. So all of what's coming, all of where I'm having this issue is all shit that I've seen you guys doing. So what do we do with that? I'm only watching what you're doing and complaining about shit that you are doing, not just about who you are, about shit that you're doing. It's like if I see my neighbor constantly beat the shit out of his wife and I don't like my neighbor for that reason, it doesn't mean that, oh, you just hate your neighbor. No, my neighbor's fucking doing something for me not to like them. It ain't just out of fucking no reason. And that's one issue which I've had that frustrates me, that I don't know if anybody from that community that will ever say, yeah, we kind of were dickheads in this one spot, and so I can understand why country X will kind of be a little pissed at us, but I don't understand the rest. I mean, if you can at least give me like, okay, a couple of countries we did some fucked up shit in, but you're gonna tell me 190 countries you did nothing wrong. It's like, who the fuck are you talking to who believes this horseshit? And then one last thing that I'll say is, did you see the ad that was put out by the real estate company that was already talking about beachfront properties that they're going to be trying to sell in Gaza?
Yeah.
So we know it. I mean, like me and Chris talked about earlier, and I know me and Steve have talked about this. This is like for every type of Zionist, there's something for all of them. Hey, for the religious one. Hey, for the secular one. Hey, for the real estate one. Hey, for the natural gas one. There's something that every one of these fucking Zionists are going to benefit from by getting that land. So there's not just one reason why that land is wanted. And you're going to tell me that there's no kind of bias. No, it's no reason for all this shit going on. They just hate us, and so we're just responding. We're just retaliating. Oh, no. Defending ourselves way harder than anybody else. It's like a toddler slaps you in the face. Does that give an adult to like the excuse to go ham on them? No, it fucking doesn't. Like I hear people say, they fire rockets every day. You have a fucking Iron Dome. Those rockets ain't doing shit. Don't fucking play that game with me.
You know, if
that's
you
like
know,
your
it's
girlfriend
funny,
tries to throw a swing at you. So fucking what? I laugh at it. Get out of here.
Look, it's funny you mentioned it's funny you mentioned rockets, right? Because a lot of the times when there were mentions of rocket attacks in Israel, what was the statement? Oh, rocket attacks into Israel, lands in open field. Minor damage, lands in parking lot, minor damage, no casualties, lands in baseball field that nobody's occupying, minor and no injuries, right? Now, all of a sudden, these people who can't throw a ball in the ocean from the boat. Now all of a sudden they Power Rangers now, like hang gliding out the sky. You know, they shooting they paragliding, parasailing, graping, you know, beheading. They're doing all of this all at the same time. I mean, yo, they may want to chill if they could really do all this. Huh.
You didn't know it's Delta Farce.
I'm just
But yeah,
saying
that's
they went from like the who is the team that the Harlem Globetrotters always play? The Washington Generals.
Oh, the Washington Generals. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're telling us now that the Washington Generals are like got one up on the Harlem Globetrotters.
Right.
Oh,
and they're
yeah.
like Richard Branson made fucking hang gliders or some shit. I don't know. It'd be funny.
Yeah.
If
They
it was
were
just
just,
flying them up. Like there's just
look,
an
they
open
had,
con.
look, they
They have a
Bruce Wayne
convention.
Yeah,
Look,
I
they
mean,
have Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark. They have Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark collab
They
to
had
make them
Elon
like some
Musk
suits.
show up. They did,
Yeah.
Chris. They had fucking Tony Stark show up. They did. They took him around. They showed him fucking brand new shell casings in a little box with no blood in it, and they were like a
They
horrible
showed him
mess
a crib.
for this spot.
Yo, think about how sick. Think about how sick you are, right? Let's just say a baby is killed and is still in the crib. It was shot up, or blown up, or stabbed up, whatever. Who keeps the baby until Tony Stark comes through to look at it?
Yeah. Well, that reminds me also of the woman who was a hostage, and she was complaining about, like, in Israel they're parading her around like a fucking trophy, and she's like, I'm tired of being used as a fucking thank you, Janice, like a prop, and they're fucking like parading me out there. But this is one of the women who were held by Hamas, and she's like, I just want to get back to my normal life. Why do I got to keep getting dragged out for propaganda? And remember I was telling you guys to remember that that one thing. This is the last clip on the show. This lady right here, and oh yeah, by the way, because I just saw I had it in my email about yeah, they want to move the Gazans, and this is something that I think Smotrich or Ben-Gvir said. I'm not sure either one, but they talked about moving them to the Congo.
Right.
That's where they would like to move the Gazans.
Right.
But
It's not as if this was a genocide / forced relocation. It's just it is.
Just a little ethnic cleansing. What's the big deal?
It's cutting the grass. That's what Netanyahu said. It's cutting the grass.
Everybody got to mow the lawn every now and then.
Mow
So
the
check
lawn.
out this. Check out this one here. This last one, and then we'll finish our closing thoughts on this topic, and then move on to the next one. But this is somebody from Knesset. This one dropped recently. Hopefully you guys can read this, and here I'll mute up. But listen to what she has to say. Oh, remember I was talking about the U.S. in I can't remember what it's called, but you know what I mean.
האתגר שלנו במלחמה הוא לחסל את האיום ולא להרתיע אותו, ואנחנו יודעים איך לחסל פעילי טרור, קשה לנו יותר עם רעיון. אונר"א זה המקור של רעיון.
You gotta move it so we can read it.
Oh yeah, you gotta
בכל
move
מיני
us.
שיטות, ואי אפשר יהיה לנצח את המלחמה.
Put us over on.
You
the
know what?
side
I'll
or
just
full screen or something.
I'll just give her the full screen right now. You can take the full screen for your hate rant.
Bitch.
So let's hop back over to it.
הוא לחסל את האיום ולא להרתיע אותו, ואנחנו יודעים איך לחסל פעילי טרור, קשה לנו יותר עם רעיון. אונר"א זה המקור של רעיון. שאמרה עינת, היא יולדת עוד ועוד טרוריסטים בכל מיני שיטות, ואי אפשר יהיה לנצח את המלחמה אם אנחנו לא נשמיד את אונר"א, וההשמדה הזו חייבת להתחיל מיד. זה לא רלוונטי לדבר על היום שאחרי. ביום שעכשיו אנחנו חייבים לפעול לעקירה של האיומים האלה לחלוטין, או שאנחנו נפספס את חלון ההזדמנויות, כפי שצוין פה כמה וכמה פעמים כבר עשינו. ובהקשר הזה יש שני מכלולי פעולה שאנחנו
This is the
יכולים
window of
להתקדם. אחד זה
opportunity.
היחס של מדינת ישראל לאונר"א ולמדינות שתורמות לה, והשני זה היחס לאוכלוסייה הפלסטינית שאונר"א משרתת, לפעמים בצורה סמי לגיטימית. כדי להתמודד עם אונר"א עצמה, בוא נזכור שהיא פועלת כאן, בשטחים שישראל כבשה ב-67, מכוח הבקשה של ישראל שהיא תעשה את זה. זה מה שהכניס אותה לפה. ישראל יכולה עכשיו לבקש ממנה להפסיק. ובאותה הזדמנות לכפור במעמד הפליט שהיא מחלקת מאוד מאוד בנדיבות, כי לפלילית יש תבחינים בינלאומיים. את התעודות של אונר"א אי אפשר להעביר, צריך לבטל. הורתן בחטא, הן צריכות ללכת לפח. מי שמגיע לו, שילך ויבדוק עם ה-UNHCR אם באמת מגיע לו. עכשיו, אונר"א היא בכלל לא...
So yeah,
they're very direct in what they're saying. So again, there's no need for any debate on the matter. You know, it's just I guess what they chose to give up for this gain is that, and I guess maybe this is some sort of silver lining, is that more people are awakened a little bit to their hand in world events, maybe a little more so than they did maybe prior to October, right? I guess that would be the only good thing about it. And you have more people willing to be a little bit more vocal and critical of it. Maybe not, but you know, at the end of the day too, you know, we see the games they play. They play a very serious game though. So if you are going to target them, they're going to come back at you, and they're going to make sure they do everything they do. They don't necessarily have to physically kill you. They will just try to cut off all your finances.
Yeah, but in this case, they want to physically kill. Like, and this is and people try to say that no, this is from like the Holocaust is brought this mentality to Israelis. Bullshit. I've read stuff that, you know, that mentality of go all the way to the max mentality. This is not something that's fucking new, because I remember watching what was it some about how they decided to boycott Germany worldwide in like what was it, like 1930. Like this is way before Holocaust or anything like that. They were nuclear option. I was offended, so I need to go to the max. We saw this with Kyrie, how everybody flipped out and they went to the max. We saw this. If you say something that a lot of these Israelis, if they get pissed off, and before they were Israelis, many of these Zionists, if they get pissed off at you, they feel they're justified to take it to the max level. You slap them on the cheek, you should die. That's how they feel. And it's
you threw a rock? You threw a rock? Are you kidding me? Okay, well, I'm gonna come back with a tank.
Yep. Yeah. And we saw that with that video when those kids were throwing rocks, and the IDF soldier came back and yanked those kids up by the arm and arrested them.
The IDF
threw them in
killed
prison
a
for years.
journalist, a foreign journalist with a tank. Ran her over, crushed her to death, fucking backed up, did it again, made sure.
Yeah, so this mentality of, well, what are we supposed to do? How about do it like other militaries and like go in on the ground and deal with the possibility of losing casualties? You don't just kill civilians 20 to 1 to who you're trying to go after. And that whole, if they were entering in a building and Hamas like pulled somebody in front of them last minute and they shot a hostage, okay, I can be like, yeah, that's being a human shield. But somebody like deciding, okay, well, I'm going to go visit my parents, and you blowing up the building. And keep in mind, in Gaza, they know where everybody is and where everybody's going. So they've already calculated all of these people in this building are a legitimate target for us to get this one person. They've calculated that. They know it's an 87-year-old woman. They know there's 4 or 5, 3-year-olds running around. They know every age of the people who are in there, and they decided, yes, kill all those people to get that one.
let's not forget to mention that in addition to what they're doing in Gaza, they're also getting it on and popping it with Hezbollah and Lebanon. And, this just didn't start today, right? It's been like this for a while. It's only, the back and forth is only increasing. So that's also
they want a wider
something-
war. They want a wider war. And I mean,
because then they get to do like WWF and tag they partner in, right? Rick Steiner gets to tag in Scott Steiner, right? So you can get it on hip hop.
I know I said one more video, and then we're gonna move on to the cat situation. Oh shoot! Now I didn't mean to start that, but I found this one video
Remember the
sitting there. I
Steiner
forgot it.
brothers, right, Steve?
Yeah.
What's that?
So you remember the Steiner brothers, right?
Oh yeah, of course, of course. Did you see there's a fucking Zac Efron and what's his nuts Adam Driver are in a wrestling movie right now, and
Are
they got
they?
super yoked out. Yeah.
Oh
God. It's all right.
I didn't know that.
It's like it looks wildly corny. Like
Clarence, what's up?
like the kind of like white movie that makes sons call fathers and fathers call sons. That kind of corny. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's the demographic they're going for.
Check this one out. I know you definitely remember this, Steve. But in case the audience don't remember this, pay attention to what's being said here.
Oh yeah.
If you take away the Soviet Union and its chief proxy, the PLO, international terrorism would collapse.
If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region. Obviously, we like to see a regime change, at least I would, in Iran, just as I would like to see in Iraq. The question now is a practical question. What is the best place to proceed? It's not a question of whether Iraq's regime should be taken out, but when should it be taken out? It's not a question of whether you'd like to see a regime change in Iran, but how do it...
For any other nations that you would recommend that the United States launch preemptive attacks upon at this point?
The answer is categorically yes. The two nations that are competing with each other, who will be the first to achieve nuclear weapons, is Iraq and Iran. But third nation, by the way, is Libya as well. Libya is trying very rapidly to build an atomic bomb capability. So you have here now three nations.
All stand together to stop Iran's march of conquest, subjugation, and terror. Know that no matter on which side of the aisle you sit, you stand with Israel.
Wait, hang on. Right? Because it's just he's not in his own government saying any of that. Like, I hope everybody that's watching is just, internalized this. He's not addressing his own government. In each and every case, he's going to his, I guess, summer home, winter home, whatever.
In the United States.
Yeah, and speaking to the U.S. Congress.
Yes,
And
continuously speaking to the U.S. Congress.
Hold on, he was speaking to a joint session.
Yes, he was.
How often does that happen? What, for State of the Union and a terrorist attack?
And in my memory in the probably past, couple of decades, only two people have done that. Benjamin Netanyahu and Zelensky, Koki Smurf. Those are the only two people I've seen do that. Interesting, right? Only two people who've been allowed to do that.
Ooh, well, in recent memory, but they did let their puppet from Vietnam come and address a joint session of Congress right before they offed him on the plane ride back.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, there was one.
It was within 3 days.
There was one other one that there was one other one that I forgot that they allowed also. Juan Guaido.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what
Their
a
other
hell of a
puppet.
track record. And the last guy that was in there was just all, so you give us money and you give us money.
That's why I would
we
be
give
like,
you an entire country, whatever left, you put the BlackRock Ford dealership is okay. You do this. Give me money.
Zelensky better be fucking.
And,
I mean,
cook
Zelensky.
it.
What happened to the last two who spoke before you? Come on, brother. Outside of BB, what happened to the other ones who spoke? What happened to the other ones? It didn't work out very well.
Body
for 'em.
doubles got up in a helicopter. Many bad things happened to body doubles. It's body doubles. Vladdy have cocaine and nice villa. Wife has place in Miami. Near Hialeah. We go party with everybody else who likes to put blue lights on the floor of their house so they can vibe. This is what we do with the cocaine and the very, very nice Ukrainian vodka, which is much more superior than Russian vodka because it's not made by orcs.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh man, man, and the thing about it is, when you don't prompt it, Steve's impressions are even better. When it comes out of left field, that's when it's the best. So you know, on that note, impressions, comedy. There's been an interview which is like kind of broke the internet lately. A man, Mr. Katt Williams, Mr. Pimp Chronicles himself, went out there and loaded up the minigun and just start firing away, and everybody was catching strays. So, oh man, thoughts on that, gentlemen? Thoughts?
I've watched this thing like
Steve,
twice,
did you? Did you? Oh, okay. That's what I was gonna ask. Did you watch the whole thing?
Man, okay, look, dude, when I saw that I didn't even see a clip. I just saw a still of the look on Shannon Sharp's face. And I could see a timestamp. And it was like 3 minutes in, and I went, "Oh, well, I had shit I was doing." Man, because dude, okay, I Katt Williams is in my top 10 all-time favorite comics. I've watched this dude's stand up since the fucking idiot was selling him out of his trunk. You know what I mean? Like it, and I've listened to Katt Williams talk to his audience and try to get the audience doesn't want to really hear a bunch of shit about the industries that they grew up with, love, support, want to be a part of, have family in, all that kind of shit. You know what I mean? Doesn't want to see behind the curtain, really. And Katt has been taking them on this journey in his comedy for a whole lot of years. And in the last like 3-4 years, especially on podcasts and stuff like that, he's been letting out a little bit more and a little bit more. And when he sat down in the club with Shannon, he told him there was a point in the interview where he was like, "It's a reckoning," you know, and fucking yeah, he's not lying. He's
Yo,
not
Marcus.
fucking around.
Marcus, the interview basically went. Well, not even interview, as he said. The conversation, it basically started like, "Hey, you know, he did the introduction, right? With me as a guy, blah blah blah, the so and so, such and such, Katt Williams. Here goes Katt Williams. Yo, Ricky Smiley's a bitch, and fuck Steve Harvey. Yo, almost immediately, yo. Like, he didn't waste any time. But he had a couple jewels in there, though.
Yeah,
It was
he
interesting.
jumped straight into it. It was like this one lady I used to work with. It'd be like, "Hey, how was your weekend?" "Oh, it was good." And then in like 2 seconds, she's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, my husband, he was arrested for pedophilia, and he got shot in the middle of the street." And like, whoa, I didn't ask. Whoa, how'd you jump to all that? He was just instantly just jumped straight in. It was like, "Hi, okay, so let me tell you about these motherfuckers I don't like."
Well, no, dude, it's even better than that because he's like, "Sir, this is the most elegant cognac I've ever had in my life. I am a connoisseur and I know the finer things about this particular beverage, and your beverage, sir, I must say is the most delightful one I've ever had in my life, and that's why I can't believe you would let these lesser men drink it while they sit here and tell you lies." And then just fucking oh, beautiful. It was beautiful.
He's like, "Ooh, it's strong."
You know, the funny thing, I mean, to me, you know, I'm into comedy. I watch a lot of comedy. So my personal opinion is this: Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, Kevin Hart, who else? Who else he mentioned?
You're talking about everybody he fired straight.
But I don't think most of those guys are funny, though. They're not that funny. They're good for a laugh.
Limited humor. I mean, I'm not going to say
Correct.
they're completely not funny at all, but are they even
that's
close
what
to
I'm-
like my top 50 like comedian list? No.
Correct.
They're
Yeah, 'cause
hacks.
Ricky
They're
Smiley is
industry
I never liked Ricky.
fucking dress wearing, shuck and jive, fucking narrative management hacks. What every last word Katt Williams said about Steve Harvey is true. He's a joke thief and a piece of shit. Everything he said about Sed is true. Sed is a no talent ass clown that literally sucked his way into the business. Dude, Ricky Smiley.
I mean, look, I'm not.
Well, don't gloss forward on the
I'm
sad
not
part
gonna say
because
that.
don't gloss over the sad part because he was like, "How is this man calling himself an entertainer? He can't sing, he can't dance." I mean, good point, because he did say that he was a singer, dancer, this and that, and all you've done is flip a couple of people's jokes. I mean, he took the joke from Katt Williams and he stole a joke from Designing Women. Come on. Designing Women? That's who you're stealing jokes from? The Bominicious joke, the Bominicious joke, Designing Women.
Stealing jokes from Mark Curry.
Now the Mark Curry thing's the most egregious because Steve stole lifted
Mark
whole
Curry's
episodes.
whole persona.
Yeah, literally lifted the whole persona. He was a principal. I mean, even down to the picture with the tie, out like that. He literally even jacked that too.
You're gonna
and he does it while he's
hijack Mr. Cooper. That's what he did. He hijacked Mr. Cooper.
And he did it while he was
went
sick.
from hanging with Mr. Cooper to hijacking Mr. Cooper.
Hijacking Mr. You can't
well,
do
for
that.
a lot of people don't know why he would be able to get away with this and why they didn't hear a whole lot from Mark Curry. Well, Mark Curry had an accident, and like 20% of his body got burnt up.
Yeah.
And so he's out of the public eye. And then when he starts trying to heal up and talk about it, it's years later after a lot of this stuff is going on. And so he hadn't released anything, so nobody's listening to Mark Curry. The only person who was listening was Katt Williams.
Well, because Katt was there.
Yeah.
The first time around.
Mm-hmm.
And
he
Mark
stole
Curry,
jokes from Def Comedy Jam.
Yeah. I mean, everybody stole jokes from Def Comedy Jam.
No,
Bernie,
what I'm saying
Bernie
is
told you.
Steve Harvey was specifically stealing from Mark Curry like nonstop. Like his
there's a
whole
lot
shtick.
of there's been a handful, and what sucks is that like black rooms are just fucking notorious for it. But I mean, there's a Carlos Mencia or a Robin Williams everywhere.
Yeah,
and Steve Harvey's definitely right. Bernie Mac tried to tell people, 25 years ago, something like that. He was like, don't bring your best jokes to a room full of comics. Don't do it, because they'll make it famous before you do, and it won't be your joke anymore. You know, because somebody came up to him with a camera, was like, hey, what's your advice for young comics? And he was like, keep your best jokes away from fucking any of these spots.
But the part where he mentioned Bernie, and clearly Hollywood wanted to keep him at an arm's length for whatever.
Dude, and Bernie is in my top 5. You know,
for years, because Bernie is funnier than all of those guys I had mentioned, right? Especially like Steve and Cedric, considering that a lot of Bernie's legend really blew up after that Kings of Comedy set. Talking about him downstairs. Talking about he wants some milk and cookies. You know, that's my shit.
I'm talking about the cookies. Where the cookies and milk and shit.
You know, that's
him
my
downstairs.
Oh, man.
Sounded like fucking early kid.
I played the whole fucking Def Jam set. I was scared of you motherfuckers. I played that whole fucking set.
He would tell a joke and he'd be like, I ain't scared of you, mom.
He's like, I'll whip out my shit. This whole room get dark.
Dark. Yes, he did, man.
He said, a fuck ain't nothing but 50 pumps. Ah, man, Bernie.
Yo, man, God. See, funny. I can't think
But
of
no,
any
he
Steve
was.
Harvey jokes like that.
Steve Harvey's a bitch, dude. Steve Harvey's a bitch. And look, here's what happened with that whole Kings of Comedy thing, too. They cut Katt Williams out. One, they cut Eddie Griffin out. Right? They let DL on. But they fucking
at the time I thought it was weird that DL joined, because I'm like, he seems rather new compared to the other three.
Well, but DL had been around.
Yeah, he'd been around.
He'd been around forever, like just on the road. DL was, you know, but he'd been a comic for a long time.
No, but it was when they cut it was after Eddie was cut out of it is when he was added. And Eddie basically told from what I heard, got into a heated argument with Steve. And that's when he's like, you know what? Fuck it, then I ain't doing this shit.
There's a reason that a bunch
Eddie
of those
Griffin's a
guys,
funny motherfucker.
yeah, Eddie Griffin's the shit, dude. That guy is hilarious. Fucking hilarious. And like, aware as fuck.
And think
he
about
knows what's going on.
and think about in that time, Patrice O'Neal was still on the scene, and they didn't even offer to him.
So okay, so look at all the but Patrice was New York.
But
This was
but they're not all from the same spots. I
no,
mean,
but they all fucking they were all L.A. Bernie was Chicago, but he was out in L.A. and
yeah,
they were
but
all L.A. Patrice was New York. They
well,
didn't.
technically, Ced was going back and forth because Ced was still in St. Louis.
But he was all of his shows and shit were LA. He fucking, I mean, that's an LA crew. That's what I'm trying to say. That's an LA crew. They won't have anything to do with Patrice. Patrice didn't want to have anything to do with LA. He fucked around and pissed people off every time he was out there. He did it on fucking purpose, and he didn't care. But Kevin Hart did. Kevin Hart cared so bad, so deeply, so much that he fucking.
Well, as I told, look, Marcus and I was speaking earlier, and I'll just reiterate what I said there. Kevin Hart is somebody who is, look, does he have some kind of acting? Does he have some acting talent? Sure, right, cool. However, his comedy is real, like slapstick. I'll fall on my face, shuck and jive. I'll slip on a banana peel and my face will end up hitting your ass crack, pause, and I'll get laughs off that. And I'll sit in the Rock's lap and he can treat me like a baby. He's willing to do all that. And that satisfies the people, the studios, more than the audience, quite honestly. Because studios,
I'll throw a dress on in a heartbeat.
The studios would like for that. They want the culture to be viewed within that parameter.
But okay, so you guys all remember before the Saturday Night Live thing where Kevin Hart said, "I'm not going to wear the dress," and he would talk about that shit. And then Saturday Night Live said, "Hey, we'll let you host. You got to put on a dress." And he was like, "Ooh, well, I'm a 31, 26." And see,
He's probably more like I'm an 8.
Right. Oh yeah, no, he knows his dress size. That's right.
He'll little dude. He probably wear a 6.
I don't know how they. Not sure how it gets fitted.
Never bought a dress for a woman before?
I mean, yeah, but with them trying it on and me going, "Oh, that's rad."
Yeah, I mean, and I what I've noticed from some of these comedians, you don't even have to like really even like push back that hardcore. All you got is like, I don't really know if I feel comfortable with this role. Never mind. We got, and then they don't call your ass back anymore. And then they call, Brandon T. Jones. I mean, Brandon T. Jackson.
Did you see Cube try to walk back and do like damage control?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I saw it.
So how? Okay. So what's the amount of time before Cube winds up on like Drink Champs or something and then tells the actual story? And then does give Katt Williams way more credit because it'll finally be okay to call out Ricky Smiley for the fucking just hack that he is.
Well, Ricky got on and basically walked back a lot of the shit that he said from Club Shay Shay. He went on there and was like, I mean, Katt is great. He even said, "Yo, he's performing soon and Montgomery. Y'all go out and go get the tickets." He went that far. I mean, he was like, it was better that I played the crackhead Santa. I mean, I just think that he did way better than I could have ever did.
Called him. You called him and said, "Motherfucker." If you ever want a job from me ever again. Or Spike.
Mm-hmm.
You know, unless you want to go work for the fucking Pink Mafia today for the rest of your career. And you will. You know?
Or he can sit on the radio and only sit on the radio because
He doesn't want to sit
Steve
on
is going to
radio. He
keep.
wants to be a movie star. You know
Of course he does, but that's the
but
only
Katt
bone that
Williams,
Steve can get for him. Or
but Katt Williams,
or if they make a First Sunday part 2 and he can revise the old lady in the dress again.
Katt
Because
is
I
kind of
mean,
like Bernie.
a lot of his roles, believe it or not, like there's so many movies that I didn't even realize he was in because he's cut out of the movie. Like you only if you look in the bloopers, then you'll know he was in the movie. I mean, for the longest, I didn't even know he was the crackhead Santa. Because even that role was cut down.
Oh yeah.
And in fact, it was cut down
Katt
because Katt Williams' role was expanded.
And that's why Katt told Shannon that he had it down in his contract that if he ever had to appear in a movie with him again, you had to put Ricky in a dress because that was the only time he was being his true self and acting.
Yeah, he was talking about him and Tyler Perry can't play a man to save their life, but they play good women.
To me, the best part of the
I don't know, did y'all see this? Ricky Smiley even called his agent and had his agent hop on and was like, I mean, you do know that like back in the day, like, you know, only men played all the women roles back then. There were no women actors.
Yes, that's right. That's because they were homos. Not because women couldn't play parts, but because they were queers and they wanted to wear a dress. Let's just be honest about the history.
Yeah. His agent went that far with it. I was like, wow.
The best part of it was when he started talking about Michael Jackson, and he said Chris Tucker. He said Chris Tucker let him call him Christmas. He said, "What grown man ever gave you such a nickname like Christmas?" Yo, I was dead. He said Christmas.
The whole bit about Chris Tucker, where he was like, I don't know, man, that's Epstein Island Chris Tucker. That's not Smokey.
Yeah. He's definitely, you know, hey, that's a different Chris Tucker that you're dealing with right there. That's not the same Chris Tucker. And then I mean, well, and look, and he basically kind of called out Luda too, like pretty viciously.
Well, did you ever hear the whole thing with Luda and Patrice from the Opie and Anthony show? Like, okay, so Ludacris comes in, and Patrice is just trying to get him to connect, you know, just trying to talk to him, and he's in there to promote whatever movie he's doing, and he's there as a representative of the studio and an ambassador for whatever, you know, production company, and he's Hollywood, and no, there's just nothing to him. And Patrice fucking like half lost it on Ludacris, and then the whole next like 3 hours is just him fucking destroying the like the gatekeeping in Black Hollywood, the way the entertainment industry, but basically like all the shit that Katt was doing to Shannon Sharp. Patrice sat there and explained to a very racist Italian man and his witless companion, and then like 35 million other people who listened to it. But like broke it all down in Patrice, I don't fuck, 20 years ago. You know, so in 2000, explained it in 2003 terms or in 2006 terms. Didn't explain it the way the Katt did in 2024 terms. You know, but yeah, over ludicrous.
But you
Yeah,
know,
I got the feeling. Oh, go ahead.
It spawned such a reaction from almost everybody who was named, except I haven't heard anything from Steve yet. But it definitely, and you know, nobody was extra flagrant or disrespectful except for Faizon Love. But I expected that from Smokey. You know what I mean?
Well, he wasn't Smokey. Remember, he was big. He was Big Perm, Big Worm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Smokey. Yeah, Big Perm, Big Worm.
But what did Katt say about Faizon? Fucking, he came out and he said, "Well, it's really easy to get a Netflix special." And Katt's like, "I got 12. He's got 0."
Yeah.
What the fuck's he talking for? Why are you letting people who don't have 0 of the accomplishments that I have tell you lies? But you know, like he was like, "No, we're not gonna do this." And so because all of the truth that Katt said about Faizon, because he didn't utter a single fucking lie about him, because all of it is accurate, it stung, man. And so he lashed out because he's not a fucking adult. He knows that everything that Katt said is true, and he couldn't fucking handle it.
Dude, they didn't even bring Faizon back for any episodes on Kevin Hart shit. Like Kevin Hart let him come on Real Husbands of Hollywood like a couple of times, and it's like, yeah, we're good on that. I mean, well, another one that I felt like was an interesting point that a lot of people glossed over, the Gary why am I blanking on his name? Gary Owens. Gary Owens thing, because I listened to some of the stuff that Gary Owens said, and he was like, "Yo, I kind of was in one of them weird situations." And I had to like let old dude know, yo, I got a wife. I love women. Like, let me make this shit clear for you. I'm not getting down with none of that. He's like, all my holes are still virgin. And so he said that they were trying to get him also to do like this studio thing with Fox. And it was like this interracial relationship, which we all know Gary Owens has a black wife. They were trying to get him on to portray a character like that. He said that they was trying to get me to say some like real like racial shit that I did not feel comfortable with, that I would have went home and my wife would have fucking like beat the shit out of me for saying. And if you look at it, they didn't get that to work. But a couple of years later, and I think that also they probably had a hard time finding black women to portray some of that and feel comfortable with those roles too. That's the reason why now you look today, what's that show, Bob and Isha Soul? I don't know, something where it's that one white guy and he has a fucking Nigerian wife. And I think that that's the idea, that they finally figured a way that they can make it work. But I think that's what they wanted, Gary. And this is an idea that I'm saying somebody else brought this point up, and I'm like, that's a solid point that they noted there. That's something that's probably what they were trying to get Gary Owens to do that
and
role.
it checks off a couple of boxes too, because it still destabilizes the black family and it further emasculates the straight white male.
Yep, that's what it is. Bob Hart Abishola. That's the show that I'm talking about right there. And that's the show that somebody brought up. I hate that I can't remember the content creator who was talking about this, but giving credit, it was not me who put this together. Another content creator, he made the connection. I'm like, you know what? That's fucking solid there. Also, don't forget that he brought up about the drive-by on Diddy. That, hey, you got to tell Diddy no. I mean, you got to tell him no, because Diddy want them cheeks. So, I mean, well, that's
Well, you
another
know,
that's
again,
another
it's like,
notch about Diddy.
well, you know, a lot of these things turn into business, right? And or it turns into blood sucking, right? Either or, right? I get you under my thumb. You like what's going on. You know, I toss a couple dollars. We go shopping. You know, I put you on a couple planes. You know, you get in a couple nice shoes, a couple nice dresses. Maybe get your body touched up here or there, and you know, I made you sign some papers, and now I own you.
And I mean, sometimes I don't think that they force you to the different crevices. They might not always do that. They might just make you do a scene that goes against what you like. For instance, and I was talking to Tones yesterday, and Tones we was talking about, well, we talked about this when I interviewed him like a year ago about a situation that he had with Diddy where it just felt weird what was going on with that whole meeting. And then Diddy was like, all right, just fucking leave there. And it was some he was like, he was giving these weird fucking vibes. And then he talked about fucking parties that they have where he's like, hey man, you know what they doing up in that party, right? To other rappers who are going in, and they is like, yeah, man, we know. And they still decided to walk into that party with certain things happening in there. He's like, I just went past a couple of rooms and saw some things. And then, oh boy, I won't play the clip
Katt
because
says it in his special.
I won't play the clip because it got me in trouble last time I played the clip.
Oh yeah.
But on my other channel, you know the interview with the guy from No Limit, right?
Yeah.
Where he was talking about it'll come around for you to re-sign for your deal, and then you'd be like, man, fuck that, I'm not signing that deal. And they'd be like, oh, you're not signing? Hey, bring the TV out. And they're like, is this you? This is what you did last night? You remember this? And you on there doing some stuff that you don't remember doing. And or stuff happening to you that you don't remember happening. We'll say that much. And if you think that's not possible, there's plenty of drugs that can make you do some stuff and forget.
No, look no further than, you know, one of our favorite stories here. You know, I guess my guy, since I always say shit like that, my guy down here, pause, Andrew Gillum. They don't always have to be unwillingly. That should be.
Well, his was all willing. That was some willing stuff going on there. That was very willing.
he was all with it.
He was about it. He was.
Yo, he turned into Wayman from Low Down Dirty Shame that night.
Can maybe him and George Santos get a podcast together, or like a buddy cop show or something like that?
Why not? I mean,
they should. They're both pretending to be shit they're not, and you know, are both in politics. So yeah, that'd be very interesting.
I don't think George Santos is pretending to be a shameless, flaming liar. I don't think he's pretending.
Emphasis on flaming.
Who he is. Dude, oh man. I watched the interview that he did, and it was just so fucking out of pocket. That dude's crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Officially crazy. He's like,
because
I said I was Jewish, like I hang out with Jewish people. Like, what? How the fuck does that mean? I walked past a synagogue once, so that makes me
no, you said
Jewish.
Your grandparents died in the Holocaust. And he's like, well, no, I said they fled the Holocaust. And they're like, from where? And he's like, Guatemala. Yeah.
he's like, and I was persecuted because I watched Schindler's List.
Right? They didn't like it when drag queens watched Schindler's List.
Exactly. So I personally feel the trauma from that event in my life.
Mm. Yeah,
I-
that dude's just okay. So this is, and I said this, I think on White Phillip, where I was like, dude, it's an example of people being so swayed by the marketing, swayed by the propaganda, and just the ability for people to get up there and say a handful of bumper sticker slogans. And the next thing you know, a legit fucking crazy, like manipulative, vindictive fraud / drag queen, possibly with an OnlyFans account where they peeled bananas with the toes, becomes an elected member of the United States House of Representatives,
Mhm.
and then gets
Yeah.
thrown out without any formal proceeding or
Yeah,
any
just get out.
actual charges being levied against them. They're just like, no, we fucked up. Look, Fetterman's one thing, but this is too much. And on his way out, he's like, I'll show you bitches. You don't know who you pissed off.
Yo,
Yeah, they were saying in the chat about the dress ritual. I'm like, that's not just for comedians, i.e.,
Yeah, no,
look
it's
up Charles Barkley
yeah.
and Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, look
Oh,
up
but
Wesley Snipes. He wore the
Tu Wong
dress in
Tu
Tu
Wong
Wong
Fu.
Fu. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he got huge.
hmm Dude,
well, he
right at that
was
time, they gave him like
well,
he was back to back
he
in the
was
90s,
already
movie after movie.
well, he was like already popular in the hood. Like when he
Yeah.
crossed
Yeah,
over
but
with,
he got like
you know,
internationally huge after that.
Yeah, because he had
well, when he
already
did
did in the hood, New Jack. He
was
had already
another
did New
movie.
Jack City and Sugar Hill and like
Yeah,
Jungle
but
Fever. And
yeah,
then when he did that, then he got Passenger 57 and Demolition Man and all those other bigger movies.
right. And
And Blade.
And Blade, dude.
Which man, and little fun fact, a lot of people don't know. Do y'all know that he didn't want Blade at first. He was trying to make Black Panther.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wanted to make Black Panther, and they were like, nobody's gonna want to watch that shit. Marvel was literally about to give up on all comic book movies, and Wesley Snipes is the one who saves them with fucking Blade. And then what do they? How do they show him appreciation?
They made Blade 3.
Blackball the shit out of him.
No,
Hey,
they
made Blade
didn't.
3.
They did. No, they didn't. They put him in all kinds of like straight to DVD release movie films though to get that fucking tax money out of him.
Well, I think he
Jesus.
did that. He did that. He was like, "Fuck, I gotta somehow get out of this fucking hole." Like they made like The Art of War like part 5. Like, I mean, gosh. And it was like this one movie he made, like Something the Gallows, where he's like a cowboy fighting vampires or something.
That was the first movie he did that was the first movie he did after. Yeah, I was like, yo, they must have paid him like $8,000 for that.
No, he got paid in coupons only. And I'm talking about like
Yeah.
all these coupons.
They gave him 3 laser disc players.
Yo. Yo.
A
And a-
1986 Toyota Cressida.
Oh, you said Toyota Cressida. I thought it was a Buick Skylark.
Without
A
the chrome.
85.
without the chrome package on the
Oh,
crescent.
he didn't get the what was it, the electric seats? My mama had a Cressida too.
I don't even. I watched the movie and I was confused. So I didn't even have an opinion. I just didn't know what the God just finished watching.
I turned the shit off after like 15 minutes. I can't watch no more. This is fucking horrible.
I fast forward to the end.
It's like when they made Jamie Foxx play the movie where he got fucking white out on parts of his face and a hooked arm. I'm like,
oh well, Jamie started
good.
off wearing the dress though, so he's all right.
Oh yeah, with fucking Wanda.
Yeah, and then whatever.
I mean, so did Martin too. Well, not started out, but later on with Martin when he was doing Shanae.
Yeah, and his mom, and who else was he on that show? Oh, and he did Big Mama's House.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Maybe he just like wearing dresses too. Could be something too.
Big Mama House too. Lest I'm sorry, Chris.
Which Brandon T. Jackson, he caught a stray on that. He was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that. No, you going ahead and go get Brandon for that." and he was, you know what Brandon's response was? Well, I'm just where the Most High decides to put me at what place in my life. Okay, mysterious statement, but that's what he said.
Sometimes the Most High puts Brandon in a room with a producer and also some lotion and some Teddy Pendergrass.
That's a whole different meaning of roll bounce.
Right.
It's wild how you could tell they really, these executives, you could tell they really don't even, they give no fucks. Because you walk up to Terry Crews and you just get a handful of his, you know what, and you looking at him like, yeah, what's up? Like you just think about that. Talk about, grabbing people by the pussy, right?
I wonder what he said to him at the time. He grabbed him and said, "We have the meats."
Yo, that's crazy.
Oh man, I'm stupid. I'm sorry, y'all.
But I'm just saying, think about it. How many of us would honestly walk up to a man the size of Terry Crews and be like, "Yo, run your pockets"?
No,
right?
sir.
I wouldn't even joke around, slap him or I wouldn't even.
I don't want to anger anyone the size of Marcus, for that matter. I don't want to anger anybody in general anyway. But Marcus is not a tiny fella, let alone Terry Crews. That just sounds. We're on YouTube.
See, you're spoiling it. Don't tell people that, Steve. I want them to talk shit to me and then meet me in person. And be like,
there are pictures, Marcus.
He is fucking bigger than I think
you're
he is.
On camera. Dude, you're at protests.
But if I'm not in proximity to other people, it can be hard to judge, how tall or whatever I might be. You might think, he's about fucking 5'6". Now, I beat his ass. I mean, I want them to keep that energy.
Yeah.
And then when they're talking all that shit to their buddies and they hear doom, 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 and fucking the shade behind them blocks the sun, then turn around and say that shit to my face. No, I'm just playing. I'm not as tall. I'm not tall like Warren. Warren is the fucking giant.
What I said was, you're not a tiny fella. That's what I said. I think that's a fair assessment. I didn't say you were a towering giant. Uncle Warren is 6'40". He is. But yeah. But no, I wouldn't. I don't want to anger. Anyone remotely close to Terry Crews' size. That just sounds like a bad idea.
That's another person who's seen me in person.
What I mean. So
Sarah's seen me in person.
you know, that's what I mean. So you look at Terry Crews, you wouldn't think of doing that. So I mean, how you would really have to be feeling yourself to do something like that and not get punched and expect to not get punched in the face, right? You
How
know,
fucking
and
comfortable are you? How
yeah.
fucking
So how
comfortable
many
are you?
times? So how many times has that actually worked? Because you
You
wouldn't
would
be doing
guess
stuff like
most.
that. You know, if I'm walking up to a woman, putting my hands on them in specific places, and you know, 8 out of 10 are just like, "Hey, come on," then you know, I guess you'll roll with it, right? But clearly, that's not something I would ever feel comfortable doing in any situation, right? So why do you feel so comfortable doing this? And clearly, you have to have some measure or level of success.
I mean, what that tells me is you were in a certain bracket of comfortability that you're used to walking around with no pushback from anybody. Gotcha. You're used to being able to just say and do whatever you feel like to anybody. And what that tells me is the level of power that you have. And I mean, it's almost like that like mob boss type, like you know, or like you see that movie villain type guy, a little fucking accountant guy who snaps his fingers and like fucking 30 bodyguards come out with guns, where you love to just like grab him and hold him up against a wall, but you got to go through a whole army of defense that he has in front of him. So it's not necessarily a wise move.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we didn't. I almost wanted to bring up one point from our favorite black tinfoil hatter. You know who I'm talking about, Chris.
Yeah, we'll
I don't
just
want to
keep that
go in.
low.
I don't want to go into his full 23 type level of breaking down. Man, you got to understand that. No, I'm not gonna go into it. But when you're dealing with somebody that the one thing I it did give me a little like, okay, maybe he might be on to something. The name of Shannon's, like the maker of Shannon's of his alcohol, is just an interesting coincidence. Let's see. Do you have the name of what it was called again?
No, I can look it up.
Yeah, look it up. Trying to remember what was it about it. He was saying something about it, and I'm like, that's something interesting that people should bring up.
Le Portier Shea.
How
Le
was it spelled?
Portier Shea VSOP
Which in French that means no. I'll keep going. Go ahead. Spell it out.
No, it's spelled Portier, like Portier.
Portiere, which basically means the door, which is kind of interesting. They call some of these people gatekeepers, and his alcohol is called the door. And if you know anything about how the boule and some of this stuff works, there's tons of gatekeepers in Hollywood. And I know it's kind of a fun story to kind of talk about it, but Katt Williams interview, I mean, keep in mind, it's not like this is a live interview. Now, it was live taped. Yes. But this interview was done back in December. This interview was done probably about, what would you say, Chris, 2-3 weeks ago?
No, I would say maybe a week at most.
Well, okay. Well, even let's say, even with it being a week.
Yeah, because some of the things he referenced were recent.
Yeah, but even with that, you can't tell me that there was not some kind of approval that this interview went through. That, I mean, you can't tell me that certain people didn't go over this and double check this and decide, okay, we're cool with that. So what that tells me is, yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, just for the record, Shannon owns that. He's not that show is not sponsored by, I mean, it's his shit. He's the sole proprietor.
but
I'm sure he has partnerships, of course.
But there's a big but that you have to throw in there. The algorithm that it's being put on. That algorithm doesn't come solely through his proprietorship. He's put on a certain one because of his status as a former NFL player. He's being put on there. So when you get to that level, for those who don't understand, the content creator, he's a former football player. He was he played for the Denver Broncos, which is one of my fucking rivals. But when you get to that level, there are people who are, I put it this way. When you get on those types of algorithms, perfect example, what happened with the Humanist Report. He used to be on TYT's algorithm. They are not algorithm, but yeah, he was on their algorithm because he was part of their partnership program. When you're on those partnership programs, instead of like if I have a strike or something, I send a claim or a dispute off to some random person out there, or maybe even the AI is answering it. I have no clue. They actually have a representative, somebody that they can call on the phone and speak with. And so when you go through that, there are different things you have to agree to. And so there's a review process that I guarantee you that he goes through with lawyers and all this stuff like that before stuff is put on. And I guarantee you those lawyers relay that information back to certain other people before it's allowed for him to go through with some of the stuff that he's saying. What I'm saying is, even somebody like Shannon has to go through some checks and balances and a little bit of approval to be able to let some of the stuff that Katt Williams say slide through. And so there,
I mean, yes, he didn't. Yes, I guess it would all just depend on the particular interview. He said people was hitting his phone the next day, like, "Yo, what's good? Why you ain't, push back or anything like that?" And he was like,
well,
"No, it's a conversation."
But those people he's talking about, are like other comedians. They're talking about comedians and people within his circle. That's not.
Yeah, people
that's
in
what
the
he was
industry.
talking about. No, but I mean, it's like basically other comedians, and because I heard what's his name, Ali Sadiq or whatever, which I don't really know who he is. I just kind of ran across it. He was talking about that he wanted to throw hands with Katt Williams. And so people like that, yeah, they reached out to Shannon, but I'm saying all these people who are on this level are boule. All these people.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're boule, when you're Prince Hall, you still got people you gotta check with before you start saying shit. They don't just let you say anything. And so if he was just running diss against Steve and calling out Cedric and calling out Kevin Hart and just calling out like that kind of stuff. But when you start throwing out Epstein and you start throwing out names like Weinstein was trying to go down on me and stuff. When you start bringing out, oh, well, Luda got this deal. He had to go sit down with certain people, and both of us had pork chop sideburns, and they made us, made one of us cut him, and he got a 10 movie deal. That stuff had to be clarified. That stuff, you don't just get to say that kind of stuff thrown out. Perfect example, look at a Judge Joe Brown when he starts saying some of that stuff. You'll watch a video that he might do that might have 6 million views on it, and all of a sudden gets cut down to 800,000, and then you got to search for it. There's a certain stuff you can get away with just outright saying, and if you say it live, then they'll go back and then they'll do whatever they do with the algorithm, start throwing strikes and doing all that. But for Shannon to just come out with that interview with some of the stuff that was said, somebody approved. Okay, yeah, that can slide through. That can slide by. You don't just say that kind of stuff. All of it. Now, some of the stuff where he's talking about earthquake is illiterate, they don't care about shit like that. But when you start talking about deals that people got, I mean, I don't know.
Who sponsors Club Shay Shay? Is it all
That's what I was
Shannon's
saying.
joint?
Well, no,
That's all his.
But yeah,
That's
but he
what I
does have
thought.
sponsors. But he does have sponsors he got to go through. He got
But that's all-
sponsors.
Yeah, but
And
that's all him.
yeah, but what I'm saying is, even with like perfect example, remember Eddie Murphy was talking about with his production company, and he was like, it dawned on me one day, I'm sitting there with a couple of other high-level comedians, and I find myself whispering in my own office, in my own corporation, because obviously there's still people who are above you that you're reporting to, even when you own your own shit. And so you can't tell me if Eddie Murphy, who's sitting in a building that he leases by himself, his own production company, and he's the CEO of it, and he's still whispering what to say. You're telling me that Eddie Murphy doing that and Shay putting out something on the internet for everybody to hear that he ain't got people that he gotta fucking check with and talk to? I don't buy that, because just like in politics, the black boule are running them. They're running this stuff the same way with some of these top level comedians.
You saw how nervous he got, but you also heard Katt speak the truth. Now, Katt doesn't, Katt was fucking around about Oprah. Katt knows about Oprah, but he did say, if you let me establish this as a place of truth, your whole fucking scene's gonna change. Shannon may or may not know what that means, but Katt was born into it and has lived it his entire life. Katt understands what walking in truth means. Katt understands what risk that is. Katt's paid significant prices for it and been significantly rewarded for it too. You know what I mean? But that's a rare individual who can do that. And
well,
I
the
don't
thing
know.
too is,
I don't know Shannon Sharp.
I mean, you can end up like Martin Lawrence running down Wilshire Boulevard too, saying they're trying to fucking kill me. I mean, we can't. For us, we know better than to just take it for face value.
You have to change the definition, at least personally, of success, right? Because if you're looking at success, you would be looking at somebody like Chris Tucker, who got all that money for the Rush Hour series, and you might be like, "Damn, I want to be like where Chris Tucker is." And sometimes these people feel like they not on, like, they haven't made it because they ain't get to that level. But you live a good life most times than not. Just an observation.
Yeah, I mean, if you be safe, and that's kind of like what we're talking about with Luda earlier, how you can be safe and not necessarily say certain things, but like there's a reason why like Chappelle had to step away for a while. He didn't just turn down money over nothing. he turned down money because it was stuff that was being asked of him that he wasn't cool with.
Well, and the way that they wrote his contract was, you know, Dave getting 10% of 500 million for Dave's intellectual property and Dave's writing team and the Chappelle show, not $450 million for the studio and the agents and everybody else to, you know, fuck around with.
Well, yeah.
So
That's how
yeah,
you end up in that Prince situation. That's how you end up like Prince, calling yourself the artist formerly known as. Because Prince did that shit because the only way he was going to profit off of, you know, profit off of a lot of what he was putting out and producing.
Oh, we lost him on the Prince point.
Oh.
Damn.
And then they murdered him. Prince.
Right?
I mean, Prince. To make that not Marcus. Prince. But yeah, no, it will. So at Katt's points about Prince were real. I understand fully like how far back those two went.
Yeah, me neither. That was news.
That was wild.
That was very interesting. You know, I didn't know a lot about Katt Williams' life. You know what I mean? He's, you know, not like that. But I don't know, it sounded like something foul really happened when he was a boy, and that's why he had to be on the road. He didn't say it, but to me it just seemed like just a 13-year-old doing that. To me, it seemed like there was some kind of abuse. Something happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was my initial feeling when I watched it.
Well, you don't have an I'm out of here because if I stay, one of us is going to die altercation at 13 without a lot of shit happening beforehand. You know, that's not day one. That doesn't happen day one. You know what I mean?
No, it doesn't, man. It doesn't. Damn, I wonder, did he hit my phone?
Right. Find out.
No, he didn't.
Well, shit.
Thought he'd be back on.
He's got to jam out to Purple Rain real quick.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. But other than that, the interview was pretty good. It was enlightening because again, we never heard from Katt like that. You know, you see him on stage, you see him in a show or a movie, and that's it. And speak of the devil. Yo.
Yeah, it's booted me all the way out. So that's all I have to say. I mean, you can close out the show. Please definitely thank Steve for swinging by. Yeah, I'm completely zoned out. I got to reboot this whole thing and stay out this morning.
All right, that's what's up, yo. So I hit you up afterwards.
Tell everybody, you know, my apologies and much appreciation for everybody for swinging through, of course.
Yeah. All right, I got you.
All right, now call me when you hop on.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Peace.
Yeah, Janice, I said they killed Prince because they did, dude. Prince was fucking way ahead of the curve, light years ahead of the curve on so many different things, and understood business at a level that like few people did. Was one of the earliest investors in Nike, was one of the people who convinced Michael Jordan to sign on with Nike as part of their fucking ad campaign. Fucking that dude had like, I don't know, dozens of different businesses and boards that he was on
I
and
tell
shit like
people
that.
I tell people all the time, Michael Jordan's like a great basketball player, but I think some people really get lost in a lot of the marketing. You know what I'm saying? But that's for another day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for the invite. Sorry Marcus got fucking gremlined out.
Yeah, they did. They came with the you know how like on the Apollo, you know, they would come with the what was it, the clown? They would come in there, grab him off with the, you know, yeah, they came
Gave
and
him
just
the-
yanked Marcus. Yeah, they just yanked his ass out. Yep, they yanked him out of there.
They gave him the hook. Dang.
they
Yeah,
gave
no,
him the
Prince
hook,
was an
yeah.
alien, Janice. Prince was a fucking alien. He was not from this planet. He was completely otherworldly. The dude, yeah, he was the incredibly talented on like multiple different levels. Very rare
All right.
individual.
Well, Steve, again, thank you for stopping through. Everybody, you guys can find Steve on AM Wake Up on Rockfin Monday through Fridays, I believe. I think they come on like 9 a.m. Eastern.
10 a.m. Eastern, 7
10 a.m.
a.m.
Eastern.
7 a.m. on the West Coast.
Yes, 7 early on the West Coast. You know, Marcus got booted, so you know, of course, you know, he says peace out. He appreciates everybody coming through. You know, he shows love, all that. As far as I go, you know, I got a game in the morning. I'm back coaching these knuckleheads, so you know that'll be all right. We put up 80 points today and won by 29. They actually impressed me today, so it wasn't bad. We'll see how tomorrow goes. Other than that, you know, Steve, again, thanks for coming through. Sorry I lost in the other half of the political matrix. Everybody, thank you, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Peace.
Take care.